We are live.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the March 25th, 2021 East Hampton Town Architectural Review Board meeting. And I'd like to welcome everyone and start the meeting out by approving the minutes from our last meeting, which was March 11th, 2021. Can I get a second on that, Esperanza?
Second.
And all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, we're waiting for Chip Ray to come in, so I'm gonna just wait 1 second and see if we can get him in. He's having some trouble logging in. Michael, is there any motion on this at this point?
At this point, Chair,
Did we send him another link, a new link?
Yes, I did.
if I can explain, at this point, Chair, there is one phone number in the waiting room that I do not recognize that you gave me that could be Chip's. It's a random telephone number. Everybody else in the waiting room's name is not Chip, and there is nobody on the phone line that can
Okay, can you give me the last four numbers, please?
2398.
I'm not aware of that number.
I do not see him in the waiting room by name.
Can I get in? What should we do? He's asking me.
He should call
Should
the
be asking
telephone
me.
number.
Call the number.
The phone number again is 351-888-6331.
Which is the number that's on the screen.
Correct, and he should watch the YouTube
351-888.
6331.
Okay, that's not on my screen. Okay, 633.
And tell him that Michael's recommending that he watch the YouTube.
If he can watch online, he should watch
Online.
on the LTV's website, the YouTube stream. There's only an 8-second delay on that.
Okay, I'm going to just go forward with a addition that we added to the agenda, which is a little housekeeping from our last meeting, where we made a motion to approve the surface texture and color for South Fork Wind, when in fact it wasn't an actual application. So I'm making a motion to withdraw that motion, and also to let the minutes reflect that we're withdrawing the motion, and it was a recommendation from the ARB to South Fork Wind. Is that correct, David?
That's correct, Chair.
Do I need a second on that?
Wouldn't hurt.
Okay, can I get a second, Diane?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Okay. All in favor, Jonathan?
Yes.
Esperanza?
Aye.
Great, thank you. Okay.
Excuse me, Chair, if I may. I
Mhm.
see a caller with the last name Ray. First name is John, I assume.
That's him.
All right, I'm going to unmute that now. We can confirm he's there. Unmuting that now.
Great, excellent, thank you. We didn't want to start with
I'm
that.
here, guys.
Hi, Chip.
I'm here.
Hi,
I'm
Chip.
here.
Good, okay.
Hello. So sorry. I'm trying to figure this out, but I'm blocked somehow.
And can I just ask, Chip, that you're able to watch the live stream?
I am going to try once more on my desktop. Otherwise, I'll go to the live stream, which is around the corner. Yeah.
Okay, and in the meantime, I'm just going to make an announcement that the first item on the agenda under agricultural overlay, 104 Main Street, LLC, tax map number 300-200-2-24.8 has been postponed, and the applicant and their representative has asked in writing to be put on our next meeting, which will be April 8th, 2021.
I'm going to miss it.
Michael?
Yes.
We're going to move to 8 Sayers Path LLC while we're waiting for Chip, but I'm going to read it into the record, and I think I gave you the names that we're waiting on. Do you recall them?
I recall one. Is it Guta?
Yes, and then Michael Zielinski.
Presently, I do see someone with that name Guta in the phone. I can let them in now if you'd like.
Great.
All right, that phone caller, if you're listening, your last 4 digits of 1016. I'm going to unmute you now.
And maybe either David. Hi, Jessica.
Hi, how are you? My attorney is going to be presenting today, Mike Zaleski. Could you allow him in as well?
I believe
Yes,
I
can
see
you
that
do-
here now. If the number is
You do have that? Great. All right, thanks,
9595
Jessica.
Thank you.
9595. I'll unmute that now.
Thank
All right,
you.
I'm gonna read into the record, the next application on the agenda under agricultural overlay is 8 Sayers Path LLC, tax map number 300-196-1-8.1, 8 Sayers Path in Wainscott. And we have Jessica Gutta on the line, as well as Michael Zielinski, and we're waiting for Chip to come back on.
I'm on. I can hear you.
Okay.
Can we see the, is there any way for us to see a screen?
We had, if you can live stream it, Jessica, the LTV webpage.
What is that? WW what?
I'll send it to you right now.
Actually.
Is it best through YouTube?
Yeah,
so
Mike, can
this
you
is
advise?
Mike from LTV. If I could just make a quick statement. If you have cable television, if you're in East Hampton, channel 22. If you don't, our website is www.ltveh.org. Right off the home page, you'll see a link to the government live streaming. When you go there, don't go to the live stream link for that. You'll see right underneath it, it will say to go to our YouTube page. You click that, it will be right available for you to open. There's only an 8-second delay.
Okay.
Should we proceed?
I'm ready. I have you up on my computer and on YouTube. It looks like that's.
And I'm on the phone and on TV, so I'm good.
Okay, all right, so let's go forward. Esperanza, if you'd like to read into the record what this is for and give us a little background on where we are at with this application.
Okay, well, the original application is, I believe it's from December. And it stated, hold on, give me a moment. I'm sorry, I thought I had it right here. Anyway, I think that it has changed. It is a proposed, it's a proposal for a 2-story dwelling. However, on that original application form, it stated a square footage that I believe has now changed. And from what I have seen with the recent submission, which we then have now 3 different surveys, but the 2 surveys that do have the proposed dwelling on them, the square footage is, if I'm not mistaken, 6,179 square feet, 2-story residence. And this is on a 1.703 acre lot, which is part of the Wainscott Farm subdivision located at 8 Sayers Path. It's a corner lot and a corner to Montauk Highway, and it has it shares a driveway with 2 other homes, and then it abuts a horse farm on the west side of it.
Okay,
And it has a recreational reserve area on the side between this lot and Montauk Highway.
Okay, Michael, can I ask you if you can confirm the square footage of the proposed house at this point?
I believe that, if you bear with me just a second, I believe the square footage, just for the board's reference, Michael Zielinski, attorney at law, 860 Montauk Highway, Watermill. Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you, Michael.
I think that the site plan, the most rendering, the most up-to-date, I think that number sounds correct. I would refer everyone to the most recent site plan that was submitted to the board, and the large-scale plans that were submitted. In the top left-hand corner of those architecturals, you'll see the in the elevations and floor plans, you'll see what the proposed square footage is. That's the gross square footage, which is not the, obviously, that's the not the gross floor area. It's the actual large square footage. So the number that was listed, I believe, is correct.
Well, I'm looking at plans that were received, elevations from March 18, 2021, and in the left-hand corner, it says main structure area calculations. And the first floor is 5344, and the second floor, I think that's a 3232 for a total of 7581, which is different than what Esperanza read in. Esperanza, where'd you get that number from?
From the survey, which, as I said, there were 3, and the largest survey that I have in the sense of the piece of paper actually is a survey that dates to February 3rd, 2020, and includes the reserve area, whereas the February 3rd, I have the smaller copy, February 3rd, 2021 survey, which does include the proposed dwelling. And that is the one that states the square footage at what I read, 6,179 square feet.
Okay, because what I'm looking at, which was marked from our office, March 18, 2021, has a date of 1/20/2020, which is earlier than yours. So I don't know why they would have submitted plans from January again.
Guys, this is the lot. First of all, this is the lot square footage. I think the surveyor got on the phone last time and explained the difference, and that the square footage of the home.
I don't recall a surveyor getting on the phone, Jessica. I don't recall we had a surveyor on the phone.
Never, no. I just want to clarify that.
Number.
May I finish? I want to clarify that I have 3 different surveys in my hands. All of them were stamped received March 18, 2021. One of them is simply a copy that has the lot and the lot 1 and the recreational reserve area. And that one says surveyed July 21, 2020. The next one is just the lot 1 with the proposed dwelling. And that one that I have this in this small size is February 3rd, last revised February 3rd, 2021. And then I have the largest one that's behind me, which is February 3rd, 2020. So I apologize, but I'm really
I have a copy
with all of these submissions.
Okay, so I have a copy of everything that was in the box that is in the Dropbox as well. And it says that the proposed lot coverage is 6,079. And what he said is, I have a hunch where the board's confusion lies as to why my areas do not match the areas on the architectural set. I am calculating 6,179 square feet for the building coverage area. Building coverage is the total square footage footprint of all roof structures. The number you referred to me of, hold on, let me just tell you the
756.
No, wait, hold on one second. It's right here. Of 7581 is the gross floor area. Gross floor area is the total aggregate area of the first and second floors of the house, only added together, but does not include the other roof structure. I hope this helps you understand the difference between 2 areas and why you should not expect them to be the same. So they will never be the same.
Thank you,
To that point, on your first application, which is part of the whole confusion, it states the main residence, the structure's main residence, dimensions 73 feet by 118 feet, number of stories 2, total square footage 7,662. So I think we just need a whole new application.
Okay, so I think the confusion lies in, this is the application that we're discussing today. Previous plans are irrelevant to this approval today because what we've included in this organized ARB submission box is the new site plan and the architecturals, and those numbers will never match. And what the number of the 7,000 from months ago is not relevant to today's meeting. We've reduced the square footage from the initial application, and it's 7,581 square feet. It will never match the survey, And if anyone needs any more detailed explanation, I could
Could you
have
repeat
the
that number,
surveyor
please?
write.
7,581.
I'm sorry, again?
7,581.
Thank you.
Excuse me, everybody.
And the site-
Kyle Vorpal has the survey up on the screen with the coverage amounts right now. Just wanted to point that out.
Right there.
Yes, but the building coverage area of 6,179 is not relevant to be matching to the square footage of the home because they will never match. They are different calculations.
All right.
That's fine, Jessica. I'm just trying to, what we're trying to get is what the actual square footage is, so that you've given that to me. I didn't have that. Thank you.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Okay, sorry, Mike, you can continue. I just wanted to clarify that because it came up in our first meeting, which Mike wasn't a part of, and I wanted to make sure that you guys understood that the lot coverage, square footage, and the actual built interior square footage will never match or be the same number. So it's not that our plans are wrong, it's just that they're not matching numbers. They're calculating two different things.
We understand that, but what we're interested in today, right now, on March 25th, 2021, what is the new proposed square footage of the house, the residence?
This 7,581 number.
Okay.
That's the
So
gross.
it's
That's the
not
gross
60
floor
it's
area.
not 6179. Okay. All right. So it's closer in square footage to what the original application stated, which Esperanza said was
7662.
yeah. It's closer to what the application is. Okay.
Right.
So let's move forward. See, Michael, we've had all these various submits and discrepancies, and some plans were submitted properly.
I understand. I do understand, and I appreciate the board trying to move this forward, and that's what we've tried to do as well. You know, they've hired me as counsel, you know, as of yesterday, and you know, they have a new architect from, I believe, who the original architect was on this project. So we are trying to move this forward, and the plans that are submitted, if we can get beyond those numbers and maybe take a look at the elevations, I think we've moved, you know, forward in a path towards where the board's previous comments, which I had a chance to view online in regards to the glass, you know, facing the agricultural parcel, relates. You know, they've removed the glazing from, you know, all of the ends of the gables, and they've reduced the panels substantially that are on each of the different ends of the structure.
Right. Well, just one thing I want to point out, and look, some things can go wrong at, you know, on either ends. Nobody is 100% perfect. But what I have in my file for this meeting is a set of color computer generated images of the home, what was originally approved and what is currently being approved. And what has been removed is what we're seeing up on the screen is the louver panels on the second story windows. However,
Betsy, I just want to clarify, nothing has been approved yet.
He meant presented.
Did I say that? I'm
Okay.
sorry. I
Yes.
apologize. What I meant was the original submission versus what they are submitting today. The problem is that the actual elevations, the architectural elevations that was in my file and is stamped received March 18th, which came with this group, is from 2020. You know, and it's the old rendering. So that's why this is becoming, you know, very difficult. So what I think we should do, Esperanza and the board, is focus on the color renderings, make our comments, and if they have to come back to us that we are going to put all of this other stuff away because it's so confusing that they'll submit all new surveys that are marked properly, elevations that are marked properly, and color renderings that are relative to what we're actually reviewing.
Yes, because I don't have a lot of what I've just seen on the screen. I didn't have as a hard copy in my packet.
You don't have this behind the original?
I have this, but Kyle just went through and I had no elevations, as you say, but I also didn't have, there was a rendering that showed the garage that wasn't in my packet.
No, it's not in mine. Let's go through it again, Kyle.
So if we could just look at this, that would be great. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question? Is there a way that I could have someone, I know I personally dropped off every single packet myself, and I counted every single item, and I counted every single page, so I know it was dropped off. Is there a way that I could maybe hand this to someone? Because I know that I created a Dropbox, and every single item in the Dropbox was handed in a package, and there was 6 copies of each, large and small, in 11 by 17.
Okay, well, I actually don't have this particular one that's up either, so.
Yeah, so if you put together these stapled copies, then we're all missing something.
So let's just go through with what the digital files show.
That's fine. I think the chairwoman's suggestion is fine. We obviously will provide you a full set of everything. We would love to hear your comments on them, and then we obviously will prepare and provide you with a full set of rendering, all the proper documentation.
Right. Let's do that. So let's take a look at the digital files that are submitted with the new changes to the exterior. Let's go through them one at a time, and then let's open it up for discussion. Thank you, Kyle.
Did we lose you?
No, we're on.
Are we on?
Yes,
Okay.
we're just looking at the photos or the renderings.
Oh,
Okay, so that's the old
Those
one.
are old. Okay. All right, Esperanza, where are you on this?
Well, I don't believe that what is being presented is consistent with the surrounding neighborhood. This is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the material, because that's not on this, is like a white painted shingle. Is that correct? So this would be
It's gray. It's gray. It's a light gray color.
can you guys
So
see
again,
the new rendering that says,
we don't have everything that in that regard, because what I have is only the original materials and not in a visual way, just list. And that was perfection siding, shingle painted white. So I was looking at this as a white, big white house.
you guys,
If that's
you
not the
guys
case, I don't have that in my hard
the
copy. I'm
materials.
seeing that for the first time now. That's what I'm trying to explain. I think these are
there's a
they're massive
detailed ARB
volumes.
submission box.
I'm speaking. These are massive volumes. From what I can see on the survey, this dwelling reaches right out to the setbacks. The homes right next to this are really almost half the size or more. It just seems terribly out of place in mass and scale. There's a lot of glass still. The glass railing, it just seems kind of commercial looking, not residential, not fitting with the character of the Ag Overlay District.
Does anybody else want to comment on what we're looking at, Diane Benson?
I agree with Esperanza. I looked at the site this week, and its surrounding, sort of modest agricultural surroundings, and it would be a completely different presentation.
Chip? Right.
Can I inquire as to what vantage point are we talking about? A vantage point from the street where this you're saying this isn't going to blend in, or the vantage point from the agricultural reserve? What vantage point are you saying that it's?
I'm talking from the vantage point of the neighbor, from the vantage point of the horse farm, from the vantage point of the street, from every vantage point.
Can this also be seen, will this also be seen from Montauk Highway?
Yes.
No, it won't be seen from it. When you're talking about the 50-foot reserve area in the front and the recreational reserve area, that's to the Montauk Highway side. You won't see either. You won't see the building. And maybe if the board would like, we can prepare a visualization of the view from Sayers Path and from Montauk Highway, if that's what the board would want.
I think you won't see
I can see it now from Montauk.
Yeah, you can see it now.
I can see it now from Montauk Highway.
Correct. Yes, you would be able to see it unless there's more screening applied there.
Yeah, because it's all deciduous trees now.
Exactly. So you can easily see there are huge mounds of earth there right now. It's very easily visible from Montauk Highway. And definitely
there's also a huge pile of stumps.
Jonathan, what's your take on this from an aesthetic standpoint as it pertains to the area and the surrounding neighborhood?
There are several things that I'm thinking about. One is that it's a large building that goes from one side of a narrow side, from wide side to wide side. It cuts the property in half, and I find that find that difficult to deal with. You can't. The house is sort of a wall instead of a house in the lot.
Right, where that you would see where what you're saying is where you would see vistas from either the left or the right side. This is taking over the spans of the width of the lot, correct?
Yeah. Yes. The scale of it.
And you're talking just so I'm clear. You're talking about vistas through the 50-foot buffer area that borders Sayers Path. Is that correct?
No. But that's not what I was just talking about necessarily. Because
Michael, why don't you let us finish what we're saying, and then you could ask questions.
Sure. No, I was just confused. That's all.
Well, but maybe it will explain itself as we proceed.
Yeah.
Okay.
The scale of the building appears to be very large, and one of the reasons that appears that way is the way it's designed. All these verticals. It has a commercial quality that is, from the other side, it looks like a warehouse. Here, it could be, stores, 3 stores next to each other. They don't look like a house. They don't look like a unified thing. And I can say this because the idea of the agricultural overlay is that the building needs to relate to the historic quality of the agricultural buildings. That that were there. They don't have to be copies of 16th century buildings, but they need to have a sensibility, a proportional system that works with them. And this, it seems especially scattered, a scattered design that seems chaotic. In addition to this, you know.
Oh, sorry, Jonathan. I just wanted to ask Kyle if you could locate, I asked Brittany earlier if there were the photographs that I've taken of the site without looking at this, if that might be helpful to look at the site as it is now. And I think perhaps it shows some of the surrounding buildings.
I apologize, they are not in the file here. Brittany is attempting to locate them now.
Okay. And then, well, in the interim, I mean, maybe we could also look at the survey.
Sure.
Well, let's take a look.
You want to talk about the?
I think we had a couple questions with regards to the lots in between where the house is proposed, as well as then the highway. There's two thin.
Could you actually, yeah, I want, could you look at the other survey, please? There's another survey in there. That middle one, yeah. Yeah, that one. And that to what Betsy was saying, I think. So while we look for those other photos, I was also hoping to get sort of an explanation, because this was part of the submission. And I believe that recreational reserved area, there needs to be access to that somewhere through this lot 1, and I'm not clear. And so
there is actually a 20-foot easement that goes through.
Where is it?
So if you see on the site plan, the Dropbox, it is in the area where it says 50-foot easement, and then there's a 20-foot easement. So where the driveway leads into the gate in the site plan, that goes all the way through. That it doesn't, we don't have to develop it as per the deed, but if anyone wants to use it to access, it's allowed to be accessed to get into the recreational reserve.
I wasn't quite clear on what area, because Kyle is pointing at one thing and I'm not sure that
it's on a different survey.
So, okay, there is a survey. There's a survey here that, which one are you guys looking at? Because I can't see what you're looking at.
It's a survey, not a site plan. And it's one that marked out lot 1 and
This survey only shows the 50-foot wide easement. It doesn't show the 25-foot wide easement on the adjoining property that the applicant is speaking of.
Okay, so where you see the actual garage, okay, so where that dotted line is, there's a dotted line of a 20, I think it's exactly 20 foot according to what I understood, and it goes through there, and that is not touched in my site plan. There is a 20-foot area that is left to be able to access the actual reserve, and that is why my gate is moved up in the landscape plan.
All right, so we'll have to look at another survey.
Here it is, right here. If you look at the landscape plan, the second item, it's the recreational reserve right there after the scenic wide easement.
That's it.
That's it. Where?
So
that's the same we were just looking at.
It's the first survey.
Did anybody ever receive a hard copy of these landscape plans?
No.
No, I never got.
No.
Well, this This is not something that was submitted because this is going to go for planning board approval. This was not pertinent to this meeting. It's just when you guys, I know when you mentioned the 20-foot easement, I wanted to make sure that you guys saw that because that is pertaining to my planning board application, but doesn't really pertain to this application. But she mentioned it, so I brought it up now because there is a 20-foot wide recreational reserve easement, and it is right after the 50-foot wide scenic easement, and it is going to be going into the planning board for
Okay, so
approval of the tennis court.
It's not reflected on this survey, though, either way. So
It's not on the stone.
you'll have to submit a new survey to reflect that.
So obviously we'll need to submit a new,
Right.
my apologies. I think that
The
we
other
need
thing
it.
that-
It looks like the driveway is in the 20-foot wide area you're talking about.
Exactly. That's what I would think. If that's where that's going to
No,
be,
no, no.
then that's,
I am allowed to, according to the deed, I'm allowed to access my driveway through that easement. My driveway is off of that easement, which I'm allowed, according to the surveyor and the site planner and the attorneys, I'm allowed to access my driveway off of that easement.
Okay, that's great. So why don't we do this? Why don't we get back to brass tacks? But before we do that, I want to just mention, because you brought up the fact that you have a gate listed on, and we can see it on the survey. I think we need to focus right now on just the residents and any gates, walls, fencing, that would come after. So, if and when you get when we move forward to make approvals for the residents, anything that you're going to want in addition to the residence itself, we can then, add on to as a modification. Because I think this is a big enough nut to crack. I don't want to have to focus on all the little details at this point. If that pleases the board and council.
Yeah, that's well received. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I think what you're hearing from the board is that the aesthetic elements, the design, feels incompatible and not harmonious with the area. And it seems to be, to Esperanza's point, it fills up most, and also Jonathan, it fills up most of the buildable lot coverage that spans from the north to the south, which, blocks some of the vistas. If you're, driving down Sayers Path, this is taking up a good portion of the width of the property. So, I have a very negative feeling towards the design and the style of this house in that area, whether it's white or it's gray. But I also think that this needs to be relooked at from the applicant based on our comments. And we really need to get the submits buttoned down, because never once did I see in any of my files or the board's files color renderings for this gray color. Now, if they're in the digital files, we don't get those digital files till a few days before the meeting. Excuse me, the board refers to all the hard copies. So everything needs to be
copies. I'd be happy to drop off again, and I will. We'll make any concessions. Yeah. Right.
If I may, we'll make sure that the board has a proper submittal package for the next time we meet.
Thank you, because this has been going on now for 4 meetings. The first meeting, Jessica didn't show up, and the only thing that we got as a submission was an application and a survey that we couldn't read. And it's just been, it's been really a struggle.
I understand that. I was just retained yesterday.
And I understand that. So I just want to be clear. So why don't
we're more than happy to make sure that the board has. But if I could just ask a couple of questions as it relates to the size question, just because that will help guide us and shorten this process as we move forward. So the board's asking that the structure be reduced even though it doesn't go beyond the principal envelope from the zoning code, that it be somehow shrunk from north to south to provide larger alleyways of view from Sayers Path through the property. Is that correct?
Yes, because there's agricultural land behind it. And that's the whole point of the well, Michael, I'm not telling you what you don't know.
Right, but there's a 50-foot wide scenic easement in the front, and then it goes through the entire property going back, however deep this property is, 450 feet, 447 feet, into the horse farm that's from the back area. So that's the view that the board's talking about from Sayers Path through the property to the horse farm. Is that correct?
Yes. Because most homes, they either sit, tucked to the side, and there's, properties to the side, or they're center, and that there's views and sides on the, to the left and the right, where this is expanding across the width of the property.
This is expanding across the entire principal building envelope.
Right, absolutely.
Right. Okay, but it's
right. And the other comment I have too is, we're all, concerned about the amount of fenestration on this home. I don't understand why there would be floor to ceiling glass panels in a garage.
We would be happy to.
Okay. So we can look at that. Although I do believe the garage, being set back is, okay. We'll definitely take a look at that and see if there's a way to reduce the glazing or fenestration on the garage itself.
And just also with regard to that, the railings being in glass, then you have all the fenestration, which is a lot of glass, and then you have railings that are glass. So there's no barrier really, no buffer to all of that light emitting.
Well,
we will, and I know the board. I know this is going to shock the board that it's not part of the submission, but we have looked into and as part of our submission that we will give you that will be complete. We have looked into films for the glass that will greatly reduce the light emission from the residents through the glass. There's films available from the manufacturers to reduce that, and we can provide documentation and as to the use of those films for the board's
Michael,
review notification.
Why would that? I'm sorry, maybe I missed something. Why is that going to shock the board?
Oh, that it wasn't in the submission.
that it wasn't in this submission. That seems to be incomplete. Everyone seems to have a different packet. So.
Okay. Yes. Also, Chip just texted me, out of sight, out of mind. I'm sorry, Chip. Would you like to jump in, please?
Yeah, sure. You can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes, perfect.
So I think the misunderstanding here is this needs to fit into the Wainscott community. I used to live in Wainscott. If you drive up and down the streets of Wainscott, you will not see a building that looks like this. It needs to be contextual. This looks like a small mid-island corporate headquarters on the side of the Long Island Expressway. And I think you're just not understanding the nature of the Wainscott community, because this has nothing to do with Wainscott.
I'm in agreement, especially south of the highway.
We can definitely take that comment back to the client.
Okay, so let's table this. Let's not, continue to go around.
Yeah, I was hoping that we could take a look at those pictures just to see that the scale of the other houses that are right next to this one. So, but if we can't find those, then that's fine.
Nope, they're right here.
Great, thank you. That's perfect.
You know that the houses next to it are on 1/4 of an acre, and this is a 4-acre lot, right?
You know what? I just want.
No, it's not a 4-acre lot. It's less than 2 acres.
It's 2 acres. This is 1.7 acres.
You might be mistaken that with another one of your properties, Jessica. This is not 4 acres.
That's not, what you just sent me. I already.
It's
okay. So if you can't find them,
I apologize. Brittany can't locate them, so we'll keep looking, but they're not here right now.
I think all of the board is familiar enough with the area. I just was hoping to take a look at it.
Right, and that maybe Jessica can take a ride around too and take a look.
And on the new survey, it should show the any other access areas or other legal information on it.
Yes, well, I think that's important also as we look at the placement of this house, and how others will, and we're not even looking at the landscaping and how that will all be affecting everything.
And just to
we'll take a look at that. So if the board were interested, if the board's interested in tabling this, we would request a 30-day date.
Okay.
All right, when you're ready, you just give us a shout out to the office. That the cutoff is a Thursday noon, the week before the next meeting. And I'm going to recommend to this staff that all of the submits that have been submitted, digital and or hard copies, get put in a past file so that they don't get mixed up with things going new. And we'll trust that everything that gets submitted is going to be new and accurate. I think that would help the board.
That would be appreciated. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you,
Michael, board, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Business signs, Amagansett Dunes Apartments Corp., tax map number 300-190-2-16-0.2, 379 Bluff Road in Amagansett. Diane Benson.
Yes, this is a very simple application to add lighting to an existing sign. It's at the East Hampton end of Bluff Road. It's the first thing you see. It's a very simple sign in front of the ocean dunes. They want to add a strip of lighting, which they have illustrated. But the only thing I talked to them and said that nowhere does it say it's dark sky compliant, although it seems to be shielded and it's only 28 watts, I believe. Do you have that on the smart board, what they included?
Excuse me, Chair. Also, I believe I have a caller on the phone pertaining to this.
Great. Let's open it up.
Okay, the last 4 digits are 8500. I'll unmute that now.
There it is.
All right.
Hi, this is Jean Galante from Land Planning.
Hey, Jean, how are you today?
I thank you.
Good, how are you? Diane, I apologize. I was waiting for the lighting company, Dabmar Lighting, the manufacturer, to send me a more detailed spec sheet. You've got the one spec sheet there that shows it's the 28 watts and all. I'd asked him to send me one that was more detailed, and as of the meeting, he still hasn't sent it to me.
Okay, did you have a conversation? Go ahead.
Excuse me, Betsy.
You go ahead, Diane.
I think that the only question is it dark sky compliant? I think it's very discreet, and I think that the signage is so minimal that there's no problem with it whatsoever. But we like to know for sure about the dark sky compliance.
Yeah, he could not give me that answer when I, we went through the specs quite a bit, and he said the tech guy ended up calling me back, and he said he could get me a more detailed spec sheet, and I'd be able to see what the Kelvin and the lumens and all that were, because I told him what we were looking for was for it to be dark sky compliant. I don't, unfortunately. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You try to find out whether you can have a LED fluorescent shape lamp put in here, and the light should not be like super white. It should be around 3,000.
I did discuss that with him. This particular fixture could take fluorescent or LED, and I asked him to also provide me with a bulb that would have a softer glow, not a whiter glow to it. So that he was going to get that information to me. But that's what we're looking at. So it's You can tell it's got the adjustable knuckles so that it tilts down. So it will just, all we're looking for is to face onto the word Ocean Dunes right there.
Right. Is this from the top or the, yeah, from the top, right?
It's from the top. It's a top mount.
It would be on both sides? I mean, so, or it would shed light on both sides, just the one?
It's a double-sided sign, so there would be one on either side to
One on either side.
point down to where it says Ocean Dunes on both sides.
Yeah, yeah. So also the LED would be less watts. It'd be like 9 or 10 or something like that. So that's and better light, better quality light.
Yeah, like I said, I asked him to get me the LED, but this fixture will take either he said the LED or the fluorescent bulb.
I'm just saying the LED will take less watts, or should, because 28 watts in LED is a lot.
It's not 48.
No, 28.
It's 28.
It says
28 watts.
Yeah. I'm just curious about having these two fixtures on the top of this sign, though. Is that clunky?
Well, excuse me, I was also going to ask, what color is the fixture?
It's bronze.
Can we go back to the fixture thing?
I'm wondering if maybe
the
we could
fixture
do something that's more white to match the sign posts and lettering.
Well, I think white would show up even more if you have two of these.
Yeah, I think I thought it was going to be on, on these little posts, and it would only require one light that would shine on both sides. I mean, the sign is very thin. It's very modest, the sign.
Yeah, no. These are, I mean, I'm looking at the overall dimensions.
Excuse me, Jane, is it possible to look at another type of fixture for this sign that wouldn't require, two of these bars up on top, that might be able to have one that would just softly illuminate that sign at night, considering where it is?
Well, I could talk to the client about that. The way it's going to be a top mount, meaning it's going to be at the top of the sign. It's not going to be mounted at the complete top of the sign. It's going to be on the the plane of the sign.
Well, I think
down.
we need a little bit more work on this. I think what you'll need to do is, if this is what the client wants, then there needs to be a rendering of how this is going to present on top of that sign. Right, Diane? Don't you agree?
Yeah. That's why I called Jean, to find out, to be clearer about how it was going to be mounted and if it was in compliance.
I mean, if this was an obscure road, I don't know if we'd be as particular, but it's Bluff Road. That commercial building, is fairly lit at night. It's not like you're not going to see the sign. I have no problem putting a dark sky compliant on the sign, but I think we really need to see it and understand it better.
Okay, I'm just putting this down. And you had mentioned a second ago about the bronze versus white. Was everyone okay with the fixture being in bronze, whether it was this fixture or another one?
I think it would depend on how it presents on top. You might, if it's available in white, I thought the white would be more in keeping with the rest of the sign as opposed to adding another color element. But if you are doing renderings, you could take a look at one versus the other and see which one the applicant prefers, and then present that to us. It's just suggestions, a different set of eyes on it.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to them tomorrow about that, and we'll hopefully have a better spec sheet too on the wattage that it would be LED versus the fluorescent.
Right. And most light fixture companies that do exterior lighting, they are on board with dark sky compliant. So if they are, they usually say it in the spec sheet.
Yeah.
And it is up to the onus of the owner or the applicant to supply that information to us, that it's not our determination if it is or it isn't. The other thing that I want to mention before you go, I don't recall being on the board in the last couple of years that the sign was approved. But what I noticed when I was looking at Diane's photographs and I rode by there is that there's also signage on the awning. If we could look at that, Kyle, the photos that Diane submitted. Do you have approval for both? I'm just concerned about the amount of signage, that it exceeds possibly the 32 square feet that you're allowed with the double-sided and the ocean dune signage on the awning.
You know what? To tell you the truth, I don't know. If I wasn't tasked with looking into that, but I will look into it and get the answer.
Yeah, maybe they do have approval. I don't know, but I would rather, find out about that now as opposed to waiting. Meaning like while we're dealing with signage. Okay.
I'll certainly have that answer before we come back then.
Okay, great. Does anybody have anything else for Jean or any other questions?
No.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jean, and thanks, Diane. We'll table this then.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you. Chip, you still with us?
Yeah. Yes.
I miss seeing you. Okay. Swallow Montauk, LLC, tax map number 300-6-3-7, 474 Westlake Drive in Montauk. And this is Jimmy on the line, Michael. There might be somebody else, but we'll ask Jimmy if he's got anybody else coming in.
Good afternoon.
What is Jimmy's last name? Chair?
I have to find the application.
We do have an Alex on Zoom right now.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you?
All right. Can you identify yourself?
Yes, I'm Alex Berenson.
And Jimmy, can you identify yourself?
Chair, there's no one here named Jimmy. Could I have Jimmy's last name, please?
It's Chinnis, Tchinnis.
Okay.
I think he was on earlier, Michael.
Thank you. He's joining now. Just a moment. Hello, Jimmy. Are you there?
I am.
Okay, Chair. They're both there.
Okay. I need to find something, and I'm right with you. Okay. Hi, guys. Michael and Jimmy. This application is for a new restaurant that's going to be opening at 474 Westlake Drive, which was over the last couple seasons, I think quite a long time, 10 years or so, I don't recall, which was Swallow East. If you could show the pictures that show that, Kyle, what it was prior. There you go. Okay. So there is a old light box type of double-sided sign close to the road. And then if you can show the building, and that says Swallow. And then the building has their logo, the bird, and then the Swallow East sign there. And this is now changing to a new restaurant that is called La Fin Kitchen and Lounge. And there's a couple questions that I have that I just want to open this up for discussion. This sign, this double-sided sign, either Michael, is it Michael?
Alex.
Oh, Alex or Jimmy. Can you explain to us the history of this? And is this lighted from inside so that the entire sign is lighted like a light box?
I'll take that, Alex. Yes. I was one of the owners of Swallow East, and I'm still partners in La Fin. We're just kind of rebranding the brand because COVID hurt us pretty bad. So this sign has been there, I believe, since Lenny's. When we took over Swallow East, we just pulled out those inserts and put in the Swallow East inserts. So we didn't build that structure. Mm-hmm. It is a lit sign on both sides. It's not too bright, but it is lit from behind. So the sign is transparent so you can see the light from behind it.
Right. And is that on your property or is that in an easement?
That's on our property.
All right. And that shows on the survey, because it was hard for me. The survey was pretty small and I couldn't really see it.
It should.
If we can look at the survey, Kyle.
There is not a survey in the file, Chair. I apologize.
They submitted surveys with their hard copies. I would imagine that did you submit digital files for this?
Yes, we did. Yes, ma'am.
There it is.
Here we go.
Yep.
Can we blow that up to take a look at from Westlake Drive up on the top? And maybe Alex or Jimmy could tell us exactly where the sign is located.
Do you see where it says planted in the top right corner?
Mm-hmm.
That's where the sign is.
Okay, so it's right along before your property line. Okay.
Yep. It's in the little manicured landscaped area.
So here's the problem to the board. In total signage with the double-sided lighted sign on the streetscape and what they want to do with regards to the La Fin painted on the building. There's also some which are going to be like that going to be pin lettering. It's not an actual sign, it's just going to be lettering. And then they also have decals on the door. It comes to 59 square feet in total. Lighted box sign is 4 by 6 feet, which is 24 square feet for each side. So that's 48, which is more than the 32 we normally allow. It's almost, I struggle with this, and maybe we'll have to get David involved. Is it grandfathered in? And if it's, would changing the sign stop the grandfather in situation for this sign? Because anytime you change anything that's grandfathered in, then it's not grandfathered in. So give us some direction here, David.
Betsy, I don't have any information about the history of that particular sign at this location. Like you said, they're allowed the 32 square feet for a double-sided sign, 20 square feet, for a single sign.
On the building.
Yes.
But you don't add those two together, like the 32 square feet. Doesn't that encompass what's on the building as also on the double-sided? In total,
the statute actually reads, Betsy, that except that both sides of a two-sided freestanding sign may have an aggregate area of 32 feet.
Right, but what about additional signage? It's 20 square feet per business.
Betsy, if it's, I think we need to look and see if it's been there and if they have a past approval for that other sign.
Right. Well, when I spoke to Jimmy, I asked him if he was able to go back and see if when they opened Swallow, did they get approval for that sign on the building as well as in the box?
Yeah, I didn't have time. I asked the gentleman who made the sign for me to try to look that up, and unfortunately he didn't get back to me in time today. I can keep looking for you, but like I said, the sign was there. We didn't add the sign, so I'm assuming we definitely had permission for that.
Right.
Swallow has been there for about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
We're transitioning into a French themed fresh seafood concept. We're hoping to be, part of the community and leave things the way they are. We're not touching anything, any walls. We're actually doing a little bit of a shift because we've used to have late nights here. We want to be a family-friendly, French, classy restaurant with delicious brunch and good dinner. We're kicking everybody out at 11 p.m. or midnight.
Oh, come on, it's Montauk. No,
unless you guys are there.
Right,
So,
but here's the thing, in speaking with David, our town attorney, about this after I spoke with Jeffrey, we were talking about, that sign has been there forever. It has a very kitschy vintage feeling to it. But over the years, dark sky compliant lighting has become part of our code. And I don't know if that, that light box would fall under dark sky compliant, which, we have to follow our code. So I was going to ask you if, because I think what you're trying to achieve and it looks like what you're presenting to us looks like what you're trying to achieve, that it's more a sophisticated signage to a more sophisticated restaurant. I'm just wondering if you would consider maybe removing that light box, having a double-sided sign that is illuminated from underneath, like under a bar, redo the sign.
You mean like an uplight?
No, you can't do uplight. Like
Okay.
Underneath the rim of the sign, you would have a strip of lights that would light downward, and it would be more narrow. It wouldn't look so vintage. And then therefore you could reduce it in size, and then you would be able to have your pin lettering on the building, and everything would conform to code, and it would be 32 square feet in total. It's done all the time. It's not like we're not asking you, to make sacrifices on your signage, except I think that a 4x6 double-sided light box is outdated and it doesn't follow our dark sky compliant code.
Yeah,
So
we can do that. I have our project manager is sitting here. You can't see him. Did you hear that? We can do that, right?
Well, we just have to take the sign out, Alex, and put a new sign in.
Oh, a whole new
keep
thing.
the posts and just, it's something for you to
Asking for a new
consider.
sign, Alex.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And make it smaller, I know.
Yeah.
So let me ask the board,
Like
just to
20
get
grand.
everybody's opinion. Do you have any comments on the new signage as presented, regardless of, whether it's in a box or anything, but the lettering and the coloring?
I have to say that I can't even remember seeing this lighted sign.
It's pretty dim.
I've been to Swallow, and I remember the one on the building. I don't remember the lighted sign.
Well,
So
the funny thing is, when I was out there and I didn't I had so much going on that day, I didn't even notice the sign when I drove in.
exactly. So I'm wondering how useful the sign is, frankly. But I think you need a sign, obviously, but maybe it's time for this one to go.
Good point. Well, what if, the fact that you can't see this, if we make it smaller, forget it. We'll never see it.
No, my point being that the one on the building is far more visible in many respects. So I don't know.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we table it? And gentlemen, if you want to think about this and now understanding, what the board is struggling with this old signage, and come back to us with a new proposal.
We can. What about literally next door, Salivar's has a light box on their building that's lit up at night.
That's definitely grandfathered.
Right. I would imagine. So
that's not before us right now. So I just want to focus on this application, not Salivar's.
Right, but
bottom line, Betsy, are you saying that this is all exceeding the amount of signage that they would be allowed? Just so I'm clear as far as code as well, beyond the lighted structure.
If this was a new building going in with new signage, they would be allowed 32 square feet, and any lighting would have to be dark sky compliant. 32 square feet in total of what they want on the sign. For the double-sided as well as on the building.
Yeah, it's too much.
And I understand from our perspective too. We hope that you would consider. We've had a very bad year. We've lost a lot of money. We're trying to do something different and get the families in here and do something that we're proud of. And replacing a sign, these things add up and get really costly. So yes, we will get back to our drawing board and see if there's anything else we can come up with.
Okay. Because the other option would be is if we, find out that this is within our jurisdiction to approve because it's been there forever and whatnot, it still exceeds the 32 square feet without the signage on the building.
Yeah.
We can't approve something that's not to code.
Of course. Can I ask is the issue if we keep the sign at the street and not do the sign on the building, just to say, does that help a little bit more? Is the fact that we're trying to ask for so much?
Because what we would be doing is grandfathering in this existing double-sided light box sign. The other thing, if you can come up with your Swallow East, approvals for what's on the building and what's here, that would be something we could, discuss too. I just don't have that.
And I don't know, Betsy, it's just a question. I mean, I don't know with dark sky compliance, but it's also a question of how much light actually emits from this sign. So if it's a sort of a tenuous light, which obviously I haven't seen before, having been there, maybe it is dark sky compliant because it's not like a bare bulb that's glaring. You know, it's not like a neon sign.
Right. But the reality is,
I don't know that.
Still 48 square feet instead of 32.
Yeah, that's a big sign.
Right.
Yeah.
What if it was framed? What if this LaFin was framed more? What if
That's
we put
an idea.
No, with
so
the
that
black
you don't have
border,
as much
dark
light in
border.
it.
What if we put a
That's
black?
an idea.
Yeah, so literally put a black frame, like a picture frame almost on that sign.
Right, and then what you could do
make
is
the
then
sign
what,
smaller with the same size lettering.
Oh,
right.
Right. So we don't have to build a whole new sign that could get really costly, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
so why don't you play around with some ideas and come back to us with what you'd like to present?
Yes, ma'am.
I think you're both, you know, getting where we're going with this.
Yeah.
All right, good. All right, thanks very much. Our next meeting, just to let you know,
Thank you.
is April 9th. No, I'm sorry, 8th. April 8th. So if you can have digital and hard copies submitted before noon on Thursday, the 1st of April, we can get you on for the next meeting. Chip, anything that you wanted to say?
No, I'm fine with it. I just want to ask Mike when we're finished a question.
Okay. Do you want,
You mean Alex or?
No, I think
No,
Mike.
our tech guy, Mike, when we finish with this application.
Okay, all right, great, all right. So we'll table this. All right, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Chip, go ahead.
Hey, Mike, I've looked at everything on my side, and everything I'm trying at my iPad, my iPhone, says that you're not letting me into the meeting. Is there something at your end that's not right?
I don't see you in the waiting room under your name. Is it a different name?
No, it'd be Chip or John Ray, one of those names.
I do not see you in the waiting room under that name. That's all I could say.
Okay, good enough. I'll stay on the phone then. That's fine.
Sorry.
Chip, you can always drive over here and, you know, share my screen.
Well, it would take 10 minutes, yeah. Let's try it this way. It's pretty good. It's working.
Okay. All right, so let's move on. I just got to find my, okay. We're going to change it to commercial. Richard Jones, tax map number 300-6-2-3.1. This has been postponed. I'm going to move on to Bluff Crest Cottages, tax map number 300-17-1-5. This has been postponed and asked to be put on the meeting for our April 8th. That was a letter or an email that went to staff. The next change to commercial is Gurney's Inn Resort and Spa, tax map number 87-3-28.1290 Old Montauk Highway in Montauk. And that is Chip Ray and Michael. There might be either Mr. DeSuna or somebody else on the line for Gurney's.
Okay, and just to let you know, Chip Ray is joining the meeting.
Yay!
Yes. Oh, wow. Yay!
When you join, Chip, you can hang up your phone, please. I'll take care of that.
Okay. Yeah,
Welcome to the
I'm
meeting.
good. Thank you. I don't know what happened, but I plugged away. Okay.
Okay.
Excuse me, Chair. Could you just please repeat the applicant's name who I'm looking for?
Chris DeSuno.
Chris DeSuna, go ahead.
He had previously joined the Zoom link and has left. I do see a caller on the phone if you want me to check and see if that's him.
Please.
One moment. I'm going to unmute this caller. The last four digits are 5548.
5548.
Hello, caller with the digits 5548. The last four of your phone. Could you identify yourself?
Hello, caller with the digits 5548. The last four of your phone.
Judith Shuker.
Okay, that's for a future application, I believe, Chair. Oh, I see Chris DeSuno in the Zoom now. He's coming in. 1 second.
Oh, shoot, what's the matter, Bubba? Going well?
Not.
Is.
Mr. DeSuno, are you there?
I am trying to get connected here. Start my video.
We see you. Welcome.
Okay, thanks. I'm not full screen here. Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Betsy, we're ready?
Go ahead, Chip.
So this is for Gurney's at 290 Old Montauk Highway in Montauk. This is an application for approval of 12 items that are part of a massive reconstruction of the saltwater spa building, which we are seawater spa building, which we are looking at here. It's an enormous one-story structure with an enormous roof deck on the top of it. And it is just to the left of the restaurant and the bar at Gurney's if you've been there. The building contains a swimming pool and spa facility on the lower first floor, which has been gutted, and this rooftop deck, which is an event space which adjoins the restaurant. That is the rooftop deck, and they're trying to finish that up now because they'd like to use it. Items seeking approval are windows, a door canopy, metal windows on this side of the building, a metal roof, a parapet walls with planters and dark sky compliant lighting, walkways, cedar siding, stairs, installing an elevator, and screening the mechanicals. That is the swimming pool. I met with Chris and his colleagues at the site. It's a vast structure that has a long way to go. I have no problem with what they're doing. It will certainly be an improvement to what is there. Chris, do you want to say something?
Well, excuse me, Chip, can you read into the record? I think it would help the
12 items?
Yeah, the 12 items. They're not that lengthy.
Okay, well, I did, but okay, replace in kind a new south facade windows at the pool level. We saw that. Replace in kind an entry door canopy. Replace in kind all existing stairs to roof level. Replace in kind the south metal roof. Replace roof railing with a parapet wall with integrated LED lighting and planter. Extend boardwalk. This is the planters and trellis at north end and east parking lot. That's what we're looking at. Add code compliant entry door lights at existing entry locations. Install new cedar siding at the exterior to match site standard. Add a new stair to the roof level at the west side. Construct new exterior ADA lift enclosure. This is an elevator for accessible roof and entry level access. Reduce the height of the mechanical enclosures on the east side. Provide mechanical screen for new equipment located on the existing generator shed roof.
Great, thank you. And maybe Chip and Chris, if you want to take us through the plans, we'll take a look.
Sure.
Chris, all yours.
Kyle, if you can pull up the plans that Chris submitted. And Kyle, we'll just go through them one by one, and when Chris gets finished explaining, we can go on to the next.
Okay, so you can see in the, right near his cursor there's a red line that we drew around the existing area. There used to be a sort of a maintenance shed, a couple of other enclosures that housed all the mechanical equipment and so on. We've re-engineered the heating and cooling systems so they can be down at the parking lot level, lower than the height of the roof. So our idea initially, when we came before you a couple of years ago, we were recladding all of these structures and simplifying them with a louver. Our idea now is not to build all of that, and just if we wrap the trellis around, we can hide it with some screening and fencing that's down much lower and less of an intrusive structure. In the picture next to it, you see the aerial view from the south. What we're planning on doing here is, well, we ran into a can of worms. All those the columns you see in between the windows of the where the swimming pool and spa are were leaking, and structurally our steel was corroded. So we had to take these doors out that they had just purchased less than 10 years ago, and reinforce all the steel columns. Each one of those 4 columns you see there are where the main beams run through the space, and it holds up the whole roof and everything. So in doing that, we thought we would, instead of reinstalling these windows on an angle that used to leak, we were just going to simplify it, and windows the same size, same shape, just go vertical instead of angled inside the piece. If we go to the next drawing. Okay, so
why don't we continue on where there's renderings of what you were just talking about for the windows?
Okay.
There, right? Isn't that right there?
That's the elevation. So let's see, if we pan down a little bit more, there's actually a picture. It might be easier to see. There we go, at the bottom 2 there. Keep going down a little bit.
There you go. If you can blow those 2 up. Come up a little bit more. There you go. Okay.
Okay, so you can see each of the sets of doors that we took them out to repair the columns, and then we're going to put the doors back in. Right above the doors, there's a small section of wall, and then the angled windows went back into the building, and then the ceiling sloped back out again. We want to replace those windows with a plain vertical window. So it really goes back to what it was, but without the angles. There's a metal roof on top of that right now. It's dark brown, and we're going to replace that with a new one just for waterproofing. It's just the old one's worn out.
So the rooftop, what type of material is going to be up there?
So what it was in the old picture you see is a wood deck that was on top of a membrane roof. The membrane roof was shot and leaking, so we're redoing the membrane. We're now doing a liquid coated roof. And then instead of putting the wood tiles down, we're going to use a porcelain roof paver. It's a porcelain tile that looks like you've seen the wood grain tiles. That's what it looks like. We have a picture up in the corner of the sheet here. So it'll look like a wood roof, but it's actually a porcelain tile.
Right. And is that going to be utilized?
Yes, they have weddings on this roof.
Okay. What are we looking at above that where it says proposed northeast corner view 3?
Okay, that corner is right. That is as you come into the property.
Mm-hmm.
There's an existing, back behind those cars is where the existing trellis is. We're proposing to expand the trellis so that it encloses the walkway, because what happens now is people come down the walkway walking to one of the other buildings, and then they walk out right into where the traffic moves. So we want to enclose a planter and plantings to make a safer pedestrian walkway. And that's all.
Does that fall underneath the roof line, or?
That is below the roof line, yes.
Below the roof line, yeah. Okay. And what are we looking at above where the wood trellises and the wood platform?
So this is where the existing walkway is. Our back is to the entrance into the hotel and restaurant right now, and we're looking towards the entrance of the spa.
Okay.
So you can see the existing trellis comes over and comes down on the wall that's open to, you go down a staircase to get into the spa.
Mhm.
We're going to run the trellis over the staircase and down, and the tower right behind it, which is about 8 foot by 8 foot wide, is going to house an ADA elevator, because currently there's no way for wheelchair access to the roof or down to the spa.
Right.
So
I think that covering the staircase down, especially in the winter with all the ice and the rain, is brilliant.
thanks. So we're going to do that with cable and planting, and so it'll all work much better.
This marks the entrance much better there.
Yeah. Okay, let's keep going.
So then the other piece is toward the west.
Oh, excuse me, scroll up, Kyle. We went through all this. If you know, the other way, like.
Scroll down.
Scroll down, right, excuse me.
That's the end of the plans.
Okay.
Yeah.
4 pages. We've loaded 4 pages.
Okay, thank you. So is there anything else in what Chip read, Christopher, that you want to point out? And does anybody on the board have any questions with regard to these changes to the spa?
Looks much better.
Yeah.
It's a huge improvement.
Yeah, it looks much better.
I mean, I will miss the old Roman bath, but.
They'll have 3 small spa pools and the same old pool that they had before, just a new finish on it.
Is the statue going away?
Oh, down at the bottom in the
Yeah,
fountain.
wasn't there a statue of a woman like Venus or something? Am I dating myself here?
I remember that. It's not there now. I'll have to ask. Ask ownership where that went.
Yeah.
The koi pond is staying there.
When they renovated the spa a couple of years ago, like wasn't it like maybe 10 years ago or something? Maybe they took her away then.
Oh, maybe the koi pond's not going anywhere. That's going to stay.
Oh, good. Well, hopefully my gift certificate will still be valid.
All right, so no one has any comments or questions to Chris? All right, Chris, you want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the 12 changes to the spa building at Gurney's as proposed by DeSuno Architects.
Great, thank you. All right, can I get a second on that, Esperanza?
Second.
All in favor, Jonathan?
Aye.
Diane?
Yes.
Aye. And Betsy, aye. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, appreciate it.
Night.
Fences, walls, and burns. Judith Shukar, tax map number 300-197-3-12.273 Wayne-Scott Northwest Road in Wayne-Scott, and that's Jonathan.
Yeah.
And Michael, let us know if we have anybody on for Judith.
We do, Chair. I see the caller right now. I'll unmute her phone. The last 4 is 5548. Judith, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Yes.
Okay, thank you,
Hi,
Chair.
Judith.
Okay, this is
Hi.
this is for a
Hello.
stucco post and a natural gate.
Is this existing, Jonathan?
Yeah, it's existing. Yeah.
Can you give us dimensions, heights, and
Yeah.
things like that so we know what we're looking
The
at?
posts, those stucco posts, are 61 inches off the ground. They say it's 62, but little slight things. It's not more than 62, definitely.
Michael, can you ask Judith to turn off her TV or something?
Sure, Judith, if you could please lower the audio.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Sure.
So they're about 5 feet, correct, Jonathan?
Yes.
And what's the width of them?
The width,
Yeah.
they're like 2 feet
Okay.
square.
And the iron automatic gate is how high?
I wrote that down here. It's
Well, it should be on the application, no?
It's 4 feet is what it is, but I don't see it on the application. Yeah.
Somehow, when I
Oh, here
saw
it
the file, I wrote down 4 feet, 4 inches. Judith, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you know how high from grade the height of your gates are?
From grade, it's 48 inches exact.
Yeah.
48.
I wrote 48 inches.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's 4 feet, okay. So Jonathan, do you have any issues on this?
Well, that seems fine. I have some other photographs that are there. The call box and the fencing that goes around the front are both off the property on the highway property. The property line is close to back up. There's a little halfway between the concrete post and the call box on the other side.
How far from the roadway to the gates is it? Or how many feet?
Maybe 10 feet.
That's it?
Yeah, about that.
That's pretty short.
Yeah.
An emergency vehicle is not going to be able to fit in there.
Right.
Will fit down the road?
What?
Into the property or down the road?
Between the roadway and the gate, it's the fire marshal requests approximately 18, is it 18 to, or 16 to 20 feet in so that a fire truck could get in without having to bust down that gate?
Oh, I see. Yeah, right. Well, yeah, that's.
Or an ambulance, can
it
an
is
ambulance
only,
sit there?
Minimal clearance is 12 feet in width and no less than 13 feet 6 inches in height, and all gate openings shall be no closer than 20 feet to the edge of the public or private road surface.
Thank you.
20 feet.
Well, the gate is
It is 20
less.
feet. It is 20 feet from the post to the road.
It is?
The gate is 20 feet.
The gate.
Yes, it is.
The gate key boxes should be placed in a reasonable position to allow access, in no case closer than 10 feet to the edge of the public or private road surface.
So are you saying that the key box there is in the town right away?
Yeah. It's not in the surveyed property. It's beyond it.
Well, that's an easy fix.
And
You
that
just
and
prove
that
it.
fence as well as the
And the
planting.
fence has to go also.
The survey, see, there's a post, a little fence post between the stucco and the sign, the signage, the call post. There's a little vertical thing there. That's about where the property line is. That's why I took this picture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I see it now. Thank you.
So even that post and rail fence is on the easement. It's out for the property.
It's in the right of.
That's correct. Yeah.
So David and Jonathan, whoever wants to advise Judith what she needs to do here. I'm assuming that we're all okay with the pillars and the gate.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, David, what?
You can't have stuff in the town right away, so you have to move it back to where it's on your property. We can't approve a call box if it's in the town right away, and I would think that that split rail fence has to be removed as well because it's in the town right away. And so.
And same with that the metal post and the deer fencing.
Well, yeah, all come out.
All of that has to go. Judith.
The deer fencing actually was put up because to protect the arborvitaes from the deer eating them.
Yeah.
The plantings were there. I don't know what to do about the plantings. I mean, does it mean I have to pick up all of these plantings and move them forward?
No.
No, it just, plantings are one thing. The fence is something else. You know, it seems like the plantings are a little bit set back. We're not going to ask you to rip up the plantings, but I do think that you need to get rid of the fencing, the split rail, the deer fence, and the key pad, the gate pad rather, because it's all in the right of way.
Can we see a survey?
There it is.
Yeah, blow that up a little bit. So where are we looking?
The top,
Yeah.
Right there.
Right.
Judith, you have a smidgen to move the
Keypad.
wall box from your, the gate to the edge of your property line.
Well,
Right. We put it
bigger.
there because we were trying to facilitate someone pulling in a vehicle, not having to come out of the vehicle to reach the call box.
I know, but we can't approve anything that's not on your property.
No, otherwise you'd have to move your whole gate in farther and move your call
Right,
box
I'd have
farther.
to move the gate in 30 feet, exactly, and that would be a huge undertaking.
Exactly.
So you're saying move the call box. I mean, I don't really know how far in to move it so that a vehicle isn't colliding with the gate.
You're just going to have to get out of the car.
It's going to have
Get
to be
out of
almost
the
on
vehicle.
a pillar.
Got it. Okay.
Almost going to have to be on the post.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On the posts. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. And yeah, that's the fence. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
I inherited that fence.
All that fencing in the easement has to go.
Yeah, I suppose this is an enormous undertaking for
David,
me
I have to
because I
excuse
did
myself
not
for
build
1
that
minute,
fence.
okay?
Okay. And I guess this is what will have to happen. I will have to pay a fence company to come in and remove that fence. The post and rail fence was there when I bought the property. I guess it was, acceptable. I don't know if it was put on after the CFO was issued, but whatever the case is, I'm basically stuck with fixing this problem now.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right.
So David, what
So
do we do here? Do we table this?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jonathan, can you read into the application into the record what the application was for?
Yeah,
I should ask you to do
I
that.
missed that. This is 73 Wainscott Northwest Road, SCTM number 300-1.
No, I know, what the application is for.
Oh.
On the back page.
I didn't do this other one either, did I? The application is for fence, wall, or gate, existing CMU and stucco posts, maximum height 62 inches, finish is natural, and what is proposed or existing structure posts for automatic gate. That's all that's.
Okay, so if we can approve the application with a condition that the fencing and the call box that are now currently in the easement be moved onto the property, correct?
Yes, we can approve it, subject to the condition that there's no fencing or call box outside of the property line.
Okay, so Jonathan, do you want to make a motion to that? And then what will happen with that, Judith, is once you do that work, you'll come back and apply for a certificate of occupancy with the ARB. We'll come out, inspect that work has been done, and then we can get you, but you'll have a resolution in the meantime for the gate.
Is there any way to get a variance for because of all the problem is all the plantings and the way they're staggered means that I have to move the plants inward in order to facilitate putting up the deer fence.
That's not,
is there any way to get a variance for this?
You'd have to apply to the zoning board of appeals. We don't grant variances here. This is a different board. So
right.
what you can do is approve the gate that the pillars that you brought the application for.
Applied for.
Yes.
Right.
But we can't approve anything that's off the property line.
Right. And technically, you're not really supposed to do plantings in the easements. You're only supposed to plant on your property. But since you already did in their landscaping, their trees.
No. I didn't do it. I bought the place in February, and the landscaping was there. So unfortunately, whoever the previous owner, and it's pointless to go, who did what, but I inherited the property with the plantings as they are. And it's a bit shocking to me that someone would plant all of these beautiful arborvitaes on town property.
We understand, and nobody's asking you to move them tonight. So.
The board approves the post.
No, when you make a motion, please.
Oh, okay. I move that we approve the posts for the automatic gate and the automatic gate for this property, with the proviso that the call box and the wooden fence on the road are removed or relocated onto the owner's property.
And the deer fencing.
And the deer fencing.
And the deer fencing as well.
Okay. Can I get a second on that, Diane?
Yes, second.
All in favor, Chip?
Yes.
And Betsy, yes. Okay. Judith, if you have any questions.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, Esperanza. I am so sorry.
It's okay.
Judith, I think if you have any questions, you can contact David, our town attorney, and he can help direct you if you, need further information with regards to a variance for what you're looking for.
Right. Okay. So not your office.
No, we don't grant variances.
324-8787 and ask for me.
Just bear with me one quick second. Let me write it down. What was that number again?
It's 324-8787. My name is David. 324-8787. My name is David.
Thank you very much, David.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your help.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good luck. I just got to make a note. Okay, Patricia Scott, tax map number 300-39-16-08-997 Springs Fireplace Road, Chip. And Kyle, I think Patricia might be on the line.
Chair, just to say, I have a few numbers that are unidentified. I'd have to go through them if you wish to determine if Patricia is there.
It might be 5012.
I don't see that.
How about 0407?
Yes.
That's her.
Even better.
Thank you. All right, I'm unmuting 0407. Caller with the last four digits, 0407. You're live with the ARB.
Thank you.
Can you state your name?
Patricia Scott.
Welcome.
Hi, Patricia.
Go ahead, Chair.
Okay,
evening,
so
everybody.
this is 997 Springs Fireplace Road, which is pretty much up towards the end of Springs Fireplace Road. The application is for the approval of 2 pairs of driveway gates on a semicircular drive with 159 feet of frontage on Springs Fireplace Road. So this is inside the property looking out towards Springs Fireplace Road. Applicant is requesting 6-foot-high, these are the older pictures, but the applicant is requesting 6-foot-high gates and posts inside. The gates would be 17 feet wide, and they would be set back 27 feet from the road pavement. The gates would be constructed, oh wait, no, whoa, just stay there. The gates would be constructed of horizontal 3-inch boards, stained black, spaced 1 inch apart. The applicant recently installed the posts before we gave any approval. Those posts are black and they're 6 feet high. The gates are connected along the road, and we're standing in the road now looking at this fence that goes along the road. The fence is 4 feet high, it's wire and wood, and it sits in front of a 3.5-foot berm. And on top of that berm are 5 to 6 feet arborvitae. The property also has, there's the fence along the road and the berm and the arborvitae. The property also has several sections of white board fence, 6 feet tall, parallel to the road and in front of the front facade of the house. There is similar fencing along the side of the house, and some of that appears to be in excess of 6 feet. Patricia?
Chip, why don't you
yes,
ask Kyle to give you what pictures you want us to focus on?
Okay, okay, Kyle, let's start over again.
Yep.
So this is inside the property at one, whoa, not so fast. This is inside the property, looking out. These are older pictures. More recently, she has installed the 6-foot posts at either end of this fence that's closest to us. Next. This is in the driveway looking towards the house. There's this whiteboard fence that's 6 feet high in the front yard. And then back along the side of the house, you see another 6-foot fence and another fence that's considerably higher than that. We're mostly concerned with the gates and the posts, but the fence came up during my inspection. Next.
Wait, but before you move there, can I just ask, looking at this from scale, it looks like the fence that's connected to the back portion of the house looks lower than 6 feet. It might be 4.
We have to go measure it.
Yeah. Patricia, can you give us the heights of the fencing that attaches to your house?
Yes, certainly. It's just shy of 6 feet, actually. Nothing is over 6 feet. You mean attached to the house itself?
Yeah, that looks lower than the 6. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Look.
Yeah.
That tall fence is 6 feet?
No.
That fence is 6 feet?
No. The one that attaches the house is 6 feet.
Yeah, but the one where the arrow is.
Where the arrow is 2 feet taller.
Yeah.
Oh, correct. I know what you mean now. Okay. That's on the side of the house between myself and my neighbor. That's actually a gate there. It was just, we were having some cesspool work done. So that was just an entry gate, but that goes back to 6 feet. Everything is under 6 feet other than that gate, which is being taken back to 6 feet this week. So there won't be anything over 6 feet on the property.
Okay, let's move on to the driveway gates.
Well, wait, Chip, while we're on this, I want to just clear this up. The section that we're talking about that's near your home, right? By right, you can have it up to 6 feet. So anything over 6 feet needs to be brought down. The second section,
yes, I know that, yeah.
Yeah, the second section that's closest to the road, the white fencing, that's 6 feet. And you can have 4 feet there on front facing the road. Anything over 4 feet, you need ARB approval. So we can get to that when we go through the rest of this. I just wanted to point that out to you and the board as we move forward. All right, Chip, sorry.
Okay, Kyle, next.
Okay, well, if I may make a quick comment on that. So having checked with code about 2-3 years ago now, I had my side fence was between myself and my neighbor was 6 feet right through to the front of the property, and code informed me you can only have 4 feet high, 30 feet in from the property. So anything 30 feet coming in towards the property is only at 4 feet high. There is nothing at 6 feet. So the white, it's not a fence, it's the white screening that you see forward of the house. It actually isn't forward of the house. The house is shaped on an angle, but that is supposedly allowed to be at 6 feet because it's 30 feet back in.
Patricia, I have photographs that show that that fence is in front of the front facade of the house, and we'll get to that photograph in a second.
But in the meantime, and David, you could chime in. If anything, 50 feet in can be 6 feet, but you need ARB approval for anything over 4 feet that faces the front of the roadway in your front yard. And, you know, we can approve up to 6 feet, but you still need ARB approval for it.
That's correct.
Okay, then
Patricia,
I was misinformed. I was told 30 feet.
And I am also the Justice Court person who does these prosecutions, so I work closely with code enforcement, and it seems that you were misinformed about that. This is, you know, considered the yard fronting, and anything over 4 feet that's this close to the road facing the street, you need our approval, or sorry, the board's approval.
Okay. All right, Chip.
Okay, next photo, Kyle.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't hear that. So how far in? 30 feet or 50 feet? Is 4 feet?
Neither. It's in front of the front facade of the house. It has nothing to do with the feet.
No, Chip, you were not in part of the conversation prior to the meeting about there is a part of the code that if it's 50 feet in, they can have up to 6 feet.
Oh, sorry.
It's recently changed, Chip, so we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
Okay, let's deal with these driveway gates first.
I'll sort. Yeah, we'll go to the gates. Anyway, I'll sort that out. It'll be 4 feet tomorrow, so no problem with that. It can be chopped down. No problem. It'll be 4 feet tomorrow.
Okay, this is the view along the road with the 4-foot fence, which we have no issue with. Next, Kyle. This is the other driveway gates, the first ones you appear coming up Springs Fireplace. That's the opening.
Mm-hmm.
Next one, Kyle. That's the fence in question, and let's see the last one. Okay, there's the fence again, and one more. Maybe these are the wrong photos.
No, go back, go back.
These are my old photos. The photos from yesterday aren't on this.
This is the posts.
Oh, here we go.
The posts,
Here
yes.
we go. Yeah. Okay, great. So Kyle, let's go through these. See, there's the fence we're talking about, and that's well in front of the house. I just want to make that clear. Wow. And that's it.
All right, so I have a question for you, Patricia. The last time we spoke, those posts weren't there. We did not approve 6 foot anything, and we tabled it. And in the meantime, you went ahead and installed 6 foot posts on both driveways.
Right. So this application did come before you. It's not the previous. It's been ongoing now for about 6 weeks. The initial application that I put in, all the documentation was lost. So it was tabled to the following meeting, which was 2 weeks later, and it wasn't put on the schedule for then either. So in waiting, I had the person who was installing the posts, who was going to be doing the job for me. The posts were already here, so I got him to go ahead and put them in, and I'm awaiting to see if I get approval. So they are.
You're violating the town code.
I mean,
You're violating the code.
they can.
Yeah.
They can no, they can be made to. They can no. I put them in because the holes were dug, and we were just simply prepping the ground. As you can see, we have gravel and everything there. The machinery was here. The machinery is now gone. So I had to utilize what I was doing, but they're just fence posts. They can be made any height.
Excuse me, Patricia, excuse me. I'm going to clear something up right here and right now. The first time that this board received an application from you was when we saw you on February 25th. We tabled it at that meeting. From my understanding, 2 weeks later, on our last meeting, you did not submit anything by the cutoff date on Thursday before the meeting. You submitted it on Monday. And you called in while we were having our meeting, and you were, pretty strong worded to our staff about you not being on the meeting, when in fact you missed the cutoff date. So I don't know what you're saying about that the board lost your application. We've only spoken to you once on February 25th. We tabled it. That was 4 weeks ago, okay, to this date. And now you're telling us that, you know, something else. And in between us tabling it, when Chip was out there, those posts were not there, you went ahead and put up 6-foot posts. So I just want to be clear about that, okay? If you're willing to cut them down, then we'll move forward with this.
Said that already.
Okay, Chip?
Okay, well, yeah, so
I'd like to respond to that, actually.
Respond.
Thank you. It was tabled at the first meeting correctly back on the 24th. You tabled it because the documentation was lost. So
no, that's not true. We tabled it because you were adamant you wanted 6 feet. We were not willing to give you 6 feet. You didn't have a drawing of what the actual gates wanted to look like. We said, come back to us at the next meeting with a photograph of something that you're referencing, because we can't approve anything that we don't have a drawing or a photograph of. And then you missed that meeting out of your own, you know, lack of getting the documentation to us on time. So now we're before you, now you're back before us. And we have the drawing or in the photograph of what you would like, and we could move forward and talk about that. Chip, you want to keep the pictures?
So this is a section of Springs Fireplace Road that is pretty rural. Some houses have gates. Most houses do not have gates. Even though these gates are set back 27 feet from the road, I do not believe they need to be 6 feet tall, as the fence that they adjoin is only 4 feet tall. So you're not going to keep deer out. They can hop over the 4-foot fence through the arborvitae if they want to. So I would not be inclined to approve 6-foot high gates here.
Can we look at what she's proposing with regards to the design?
Well, I'm very, excuse me, Chip, I'm very surprised at that, because at the initial meeting, you didn't see an issue with what I had proposed, with what I was asking for.
Are you kidding me?
Patricia, I would have always had an issue with 6-foot high gates. I told you right from the get-go, we're moving away from approving 6-foot high gates.
Well, it's more that we're taking into consideration. We're taking.
Patricia, could you let the chair talk, please?
We're taking into consideration the neighborhood. You can have a 4-foot gate, and I remember saying that you were very well versed on the code. It's the discretion of the board to approve anything above 4 feet, and we can't approve anything over 6 feet. We're moving away from rubber stamping 6-foot gates all up and down the roadways, unless there's a real necessity for that. And, or if it's in keeping with the location. You're right on a main road, and you're asking for 2 solid 6-foot black gates. And the picture that you submitted shows that you're looking for something that's close to 3.5 or 4 inches panels with 1 inch separation. So let's take a look at the photograph that she submitted that she likes.
Okay.
The photograph that I submitted that I like is also on a main road. It's in Amagansett at 566. It is the same dimensions that I've requested.
Yes, but I don't know for a fact that they ever asked for approval. That could be an illegal gate.
That's a wall. That's not a gate.
That's what she wants.
Oh, God.
That's a wall. It's not a gate.
There are many people, Patricia, unlike yourself, who are just putting up gates as they like without coming before the board, and eventually they'll get a code violation. Chip?
Or eventually, they'll either get a violation or they'll get approval. There's been many situations.
Well, we're not talking about their applications. We're talking about yours.
I
at
know.
this point.
I knew that was going to. I knew that comment was going to come up. But the only criteria that you can base things on as an individual, myself, is looking at what other things do get approved or disapproved. And when one sees approval in one instance, I understand we're looking at this application, but when you see approval for other applicants, one has the right to question, well, why not mine? I understand it goes in keeping with the neighborhood. So in regard to as in keeping with the neighborhood, it is approximately 6 doors along for me that there is a 6-foot gate.
Again, nothing that we necessarily have approved. So we're not looking at.
Patricia, one of your neighbors was an application before me 3 or 4 months ago. That gate has not approved. It's an existing gate, and we told them they had to take it down and cut it down to get their C of O. They have not chosen to do that yet, but if you're looking at that one, they're in trouble and they just haven't acted on it yet.
Okay, I'm not sure. There's a few. I did send in pictures of all the local gates that are 6 feet high within a quarter-mile radius of this house. And I think I had 20 in total.
All right, and Patricia, we're saying to you that we cannot tell you that we have approved those gates. People put gates up all the time without coming for our approval.
All right. So I think the important thing to focus on here is if the proposed gate is a harmonious character because of the proposed style, scale, mass, materials, line, color, detail, or placement upon the property, or proposed buildings or structures in relation to the spaces between buildings or the natural character of the landscape, or because of lack of provision for balance between the proposed location and design of structures and adjacent open areas or adjacent existing structures. So, you know, I think the board has spoken to that already. And I'd rather not just focus on these photos of arbitrary gates that we don't know if they have approval or where they are. So,
all right. So I'm going to do this.
I can check that for you.
The board, this gate that we're looking at now that was just up there, if you can go back to that, please, Kyle. Patricia's application is to put up 2 of these 6-foot, this gate right here, these two 6-foot black gates like this on her property that is up in the rural area of Springs Fireplace Road, 2 on her circular driveway. Does anybody have any comments to make with regards to this, Diane? This is just south of Underwood Road or Drive.
Yes, I know this section quite well. And it's very open and rural. No, I think that this presents a totally wrong face.
Esperanza?
I agree with Diane. It's in the way that this is, it's not a gate, it's a wall at 6 feet in particular. And it's not consistent with the area.
And Jonathan?
I agree. I think a 4-foot fence, a gate, I mean, would look better on the property as well, not only just the in the neighborhood.
Well, I'm in agreement with all of you, but Patricia was saying at our last meeting the last meeting that she was with us a month ago, that she knows she can have a 4-foot gate. She wanted something a little higher that somebody couldn't step over. We talked about maybe going 5 feet, but we didn't know that she wanted this solid gate design. So my recommendation to Patricia would be
sorry.
Please.
I'm going to make it more opaque.
All right, what would you like to say, Patricia?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm prepared to make it more opaque if you think it's too solid. I have no problem with that. It's
well,
more
that's what I was
going to say.
That's what I was going to say before you interrupted us, that if you were to open that up and remove every other panel and bring it down to 5 feet, maybe the board would be a little bit more agreeable to what you're proposing. I can't speak for them. We could take a vote on it. So why don't you tell us what you would like to do, knowing that it's most likely not going to pass a vote for 6 feet in this design tonight.
Okay, so we'll ignore the 6 feet then. I understand it's high, but I don't want anything someone can just jump over. So I can definitely open up the gate, make it more attractive, not so closed in.
Okay, so why don't we do this? Why don't we table this again? Our next meeting is on April 9th. If you have a new drawing or a new design that you can present to us in a different height by April 1st at 12 noon, we can put you back on the agenda for that meeting on the 9th, okay?
Okay, and before I draw it up, would you contemplate higher than 5 feet? Can we go 5.5 if I open it up more?
I think you're hearing that we
under
6 feet. I think, here's the thing, Patricia. 6 feet or 5.5 to 6 feet presents very large. Something closer to 4 is very charming. We understand you want something a little bit of a height. I think 5 foot is a big compromise. And if you open it up more, I think you'll be happier with it as well.
Okay, and no problem. And the posts, are they okay to be higher? Because I need the strength there.
No, we would like it all at 5.
Post and gate, Patricia, need to be at 5 feet.
Whatever we
The
approve
same
in
as,
the end.
same as the gate. I don't know. I still think 4 feet is better, but.
I agree with you, Jonathan.
In the interim,
board, Betsy?
not build anything else.
I'm not interested in the expense for a 4 feet gate that someone can just climb over. That's not the purpose. Won't serve any purpose.
A giant?
Rental,
Rental people.
But Patricia, you have a 4-foot fence. They can climb over your 4-foot fence as easily as they can climb over a 4-foot gate.
They can also scale a 5 or 6 foot gate.
It's a completely covered berm. They can't get through there. But anyway,
anyone can get through those bushes.
4 feet, as I well know, I don't have to be in front of you. But I'll write it up for 5 feet. But if you don't think you're going to approve 5 feet, why am I bothering to write it up?
Well, what I'm saying is that we could take a vote on it. I can't tell each board member what to do. So
let's do that, Betsy.
No, of course not.
What, Chip?
Let's do that. Let's take a poll and see what the inclination of the board is.
Well, we sort of have, haven't we?
Well, all right, so we'll do this. All right, so if Patricia were to come back to us with a more open design at 5 feet, where would the board be on this? Diane, would you approve that?
A more open design at 5 feet. Yes.
Okay. Chip?
Yes.
All right. Esperanza?
No.
Jonathan?
I think an open design is very good. I still think that having it the same height as the fence that goes into it is smart.
Okay, and I would be willing to vote for a 5 foot more open. So it's 3-2. So I think it would be worth your effort to come back to us.
I'll draw it up.
Draw it up, and the more open, the better. And honestly, Patricia, we're not doing this to be contrary or anything. We do this all the time. We see, gates that look really great at 4 feet. They're, neighborly.
I see that you do it all the time. Yes.
Right. So, I think you'll be happier with this than the 6 foot wall. Okay. So we'll table this.
All right.
Hopefully we'll see it at the next meeting. Thank you very much. Okay. Very nice.
Bye.
Vivian Ching, tax map number 300-74-7-22, 36 Springwood Way in East Hampton. Jonathan is the assigned board member, and we're hoping, Michael, that Vivian is on the line.
Chair, yes, I have that caller. I'll unmute that now. The number is the last 4, 8307.
This is to legalize existing installed fencing by East Hampton Fence.
Excuse me, Jonathan. Can I just make sure that the caller is present? Excuse me, caller,
Sure.
are you there?
Yes, good evening. This is Vivian Ching.
Thank you. Go
Hi,
ahead,
Vivian,
Jonathan.
welcome. Give us 1 second. Jonathan, can you read what the application is for?
Well, the purpose of the proposed structure is a deer fence and rear pool fence. It doesn't, this application.
Is it incomplete?
Yeah, like explain the nature of the violation, there's nothing there. But it's, the survey says clearly that this is for
No, but I want to make sure that the application is complete. Kyle, can we see if there's a copy of the application on the?
Yep, it's right here. I'm pulling it up now.
Thank you very much. Deer fence and rear pool fence, okay. All right, blacks 8 feet and 7.5 feet. And that's all it says. Okay, so it's for a black fence that's 7.5 to 8 feet. Okay,
Yeah.
and then there's a letter that she wrote. Do you want to read the letter into the record?
Sure.
Jonathan?
I'll read it off the computer and missed it here. We contracted East Hampton Fence and Gate Incorporated to install a deer and pool fence along the rear of our property. They installed a 7.5-inch black wire mesh fence with a 2-foot by a 2-inch by 4-inch grid as shown in the attached photos. We expected that the East Hampton Fence Company would be aware of the code and height requirements for fencing in East Hampton. After it was installed, that we were made aware of by the building inspector that the height of our fence exceeded the maximum height of 6 feet. When we informed East Hampton Fence, the owner, Michael, still insisted that it's up to 8 feet is allowed. We respectfully request that we be allowed to keep the currently installed 7.5 foot fence in order to keep deer out of our backyard and pool.
So let's take a look at the survey.
Yeah. See, the magic marker is the one fence, but every fence here is not the height that is on the survey.
Okay. Where's the survey from?
The date of the survey?
Mm-hmm. What's the last date that it was updated?
2019. September 2019.
All right. So Jonathan, you want to take us through your photos? Maybe we'll get a better idea of what's going on.
Yeah, let's shoot the photos there. Okay, first one. Okay, this is on the right side of the house, which would from the road, and it's set back more than 50 feet from the road. There's a low fence which is not quite 4 feet, perhaps. It's lower than 4 feet, but the other fence up there is a deer fence, so plastic deer fencing, and it's 8 feet. Can we stick on the same thing?
Yeah, go back. Where do you see 8 feet?
All right, see the post that goes all the way up? And
Yeah.
you can see
Oh, yes, I see
where
it.
against the house behind and so forth, that mesh goes all the way up there. That is 8 feet.
Oh, so there's something on top of that greenish 4 feet fence?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Visible, yeah.
There's a green pool fence, 4 feet, and then an 8-foot
Mesh
black fence.
on this black pole. You
Yeah, on the black pole.
Very, very attractive.
I'll take your word for it. I see the black pole, but I don't see the black.
Well,
fence.
Look at, like, see how the brown house is in focus above that line, but below that line, it's fuzzy, like in front of the window and everything?
Yeah, I can see the
right, and to the right of the window, there's a shadow. There you go.
There you go. Excellent.
There-
All right,
now
let's
you
keep
can
going.
see it,
Let's keep
right?
going through the photos. Okay.
All right.
Can I
Okay.
clarify one thing while we're on? Oh, hello?
Sure.
Sure.
Yes.
Oh, okay. The pole that you see next to my chimney, that's just a temporary fencing. There's going to be a 4-foot fence there installed. That's just temporary for now, for the
Okay.
pool. Yeah. So that's going to all be ripped
What
out.
kind of fence is that is going to go in there? The metal
4
one,
foot,
or
like a lattice, wood lattice fence.
Okay.
a 4-foot wood lattice fence?
Okay, that's fine. She can have whatever she wants at 4 feet there. All
Yeah,
right, let's keep
right.
going.
All right. Okay, on this side, this I couldn't get on the property because it's fully fenced off, but there's a tall fence, which is probably the 7.5-foot fence behind those evergreens over there, the other side of the pool.
To the left?
And to the back.
To the left and to the back, all the way from where I'm standing, which is through a fence. Look, covered in wrapping through the 8-foot fence. On the other side of the house, there's an 8-foot fence that wraps around. You can see bits and pieces of it. It's kind of on the other side of the plantings.
May I say something here on this photo?
Yeah.
Please. We'll go back. Yeah. Thank you, Carl.
Okay. Yeah. On this photo on my left side of my house, the deer fence that we installed is only behind the evergreens. The deer fence that's on the side of the house belongs to my neighbor, to my left.
Okay.
It belongs to the neighbor.
That, yeah. That fence, I believe, may be 8 feet, or yeah. But the
Yeah,
one
I
I installed is
mentioned
7.5 feet. It's only along the rear of my property.
And then the fence that goes from your house to that fence is going to end up being another 4-foot wooden fence with a gate in it or something?
Yes, correct. That's
So
just
on
temporary
both
for now.
sides of your house, you're going to have 4 feet wooden lattice fencing, correct?
Facing
and the
the
only,
road.
right, and the only,
Actually, it's
right, I'm sorry, say that again?
I think it's going to be 4.5 by the time you add the posts and everything. Yeah, but am I allowed
Try to keep it at 4, because then you don't have to come before the ARB. Anything
Yeah.
over 4 feet,
4
you have
feet.
to come.
And the thing is that the metal
Although,
fence,
wait a minute, let me backtrack. Although at the side plane of your house, you can have up to 6 feet.
yeah,
Okay, that's what I was thought. So okay, thank
Right,
you.
because you said, Jonathan, she's 50 feet back from the road with those.
that fence right where I'm standing is 50 feet or more than 50 feet off the road, 60 feet probably.
Okay.
But on the other side of the fence, Vivian, the other side of the house where you looked before, there's a metal picket fence. Is that yours? Or is that somebody
that
else?
belongs to my neighbor. Right, that's my neighbor on the right. That's their.
It's their fence?
So
Yeah.
are you relying on your neighbor's fencing?
No, she has another fence on the inside of that.
Okay.
But that is a 4.5-foot steel fence, with the pickets.
It appears to me that let's go through the rest of the photos and then we'll go back to the
It
survey.
looks to me like that fence is very close to being on the property line. It's their fence, huh? All right, the next photo. Anyway, so that 7 or 8-foot fence goes all the way up to where those evergreens go vertical, right here. After that, toward the road, there's nothing, no fence at all. So the next photo, this is the fence. That's the metal fence that is 4.5 feet, and it has a mesh fence on the inside of that with smaller mesh.
Okay.
The last photograph, Jonathan.
This is
Okay,
it.
can we go back to the survey?
Yeah.
So between Jonathan and Vivian, the only thing that you're asking for approval on is where it's highlighted in the back portion that runs also along that side portion up to where the back of your house, the back plane of your house is. So basically, you're, just so we're all clear, that you know that you can have up to 6 feet by right, and anything over 6 feet, not higher than 8, unless there's an exemption, you need ARB approval for.
Okay, that's what I'm seeking today. But
Does anybody have a problem? Well, Jonathan couldn't get in the back to see what the fencing looked like. Is it tucked behind evergreens, or is it very visible to you or to your neighbors?
No, we planted evergreens on our side all along, and my neighbor also planted on his side. So it's very invisible, the fence. You really have to look for it.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to see, but I did see it go along there.
Does anybody have any questions for Jonathan or Vivian on this?
I do.
No.
Where the two parts of your property around either side of the pool, that fence looked to me like it was a plastic mesh fence that it wobbled. It wasn't a rigid fence that you would have at a pool fence, correct?
What section are you talking, Jonathan? Excuse me. What section are you talking about, Jonathan?
Where the magic marker is, what we're actually supposed to be talking about, which is they say it's 7.5 to 8 feet tall. Yeah. So it's a deer fence. It's not a metal fence, right?
Well, on her East Hampton fence and gate sales agreement, it says 8-foot-high wire pool fence and deer fence. Is it wire or is it plastic, Vivian?
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding where you're referring to. The part that I
fencing that East Hampton gate put in the back of your property. If you can go back to the wire. It's wire. Yeah, so why do you think it's plastic, Jonathan, if you couldn't get back there?
No, I'm just saying. It looked like it had usually metal is absolutely straight. It looked like it was waving in the wind a little bit.
Was there any photographs that you were able to take from where you were standing that we could see what you're talking about?
No, the fence is not. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry you couldn't get it that day. But do you have the photos that I submitted with my application?
Yeah, we're looking at them right now.
Yeah, I didn't ever see these. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a standard wire fence for deer fencing, is what I'm told. It's very rigid.
And Jonathan, you didn't get these in your packet?
No.
Did you submit these hard copies, Vivian?
Yes, I submitted those.
As hard copies as well as digital?
Yes, yes.
Interesting. We've got to figure this out, because a lot of people are saying they're submitting things that we're not getting in our files. We'll have to look at that. Okay.
So David, is this legal for a pool fence?
If we approve it, it is. They can have 8 feet, up to 8 feet in the side and the back.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks to me like it's behind the plane of the house.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's the entire rear yard.
That kind of a fence, because
it's not the entire rear Esperanza, it's the back and the one side.
Well, I know, but I mean, most of it is the entire rear yard, so it's
not where the magic. I don't.
Yeah.
Look that way from the survey.
I don't have a problem with this. Does
I don't have a problem with it. I have a problem with agents who provide information to their clients that is erroneous.
Right, and it's happening more and more as time goes on. Vivian, I'd like to
advice from this guy.
What?
Okay.
I'm sorry, what, David?
I was just telling the applicant that she was erroneously informed about what's legal and what's not, and unfortunately, I guess fortunately, it's going to work out for you. It seems that way, but I think
that's what he's counting on.
He misrepresented to you what was legal and what's not, and that's really concerning.
Yeah, I was quite shocked. And when I went back to him to ask him to rectify, he just went crazy and told me that, you know, it's allowed. And basically, anyway, it's a horrible story. But anyway.
Well, we know the story well. It happens very
I
often.
might recommend that you reach out to our licensing review board at the town. You know, if you'd be willing to do that, they'd be happy to hear from you. So.
Okay, sure. Licensing review board. I will reach out to them because I already.
Because you're not the only person that this is happening to, and we can't do anything unless the client makes a complaint.
Okay, I will definitely file a complaint.
Well, Vivian, it's happening with this vendor constantly. So it's not many vendors, it's this vendor.
Yeah, that's what I'm finding out. When I went back and looked at reviews, I'm hearing the same story over and over about height and the other interactions I have with. So it's amazing. I was very shocked.
Right, and we're not laughing because we think it's funny. We're laughing out of frustration because we have to deal with this all the time as well. And unless people make complaints to the licensing agreement board, nothing can get done. So we'd appreciate it if you would do that.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that board, but I definitely will file a complaint. Yeah.
Well, what they do is they grant licenses to contractors to operate in the town. So if they find out that the contractors are, you know, giving false information to their clients, they need to know that.
I see. Okay.
Because you have to have a license to operate in the town. All right.
Welcome to call my office.
I'm sorry, Dave, go ahead.
You're welcome to call my office tomorrow. It's 324-8787. My name is David, and I can, you know, discuss the next step with you. But,
okay, sure. I will do that, David. Thank you.
Okay, great. So if everybody is okay with this and nobody has any questions, Chip can move forward. Anybody have anything else they want to say to Vivian or ask?
I think your fence idea for the two from the house to the side fences is a good idea.
Right. And also, Vivian, if you could get that 8-foot fencing down, you know, by the time you'll get a resolution that will, you know, show that we're approving this 7.5-foot deer fencing in the back. But then once you get your resolution, if you could also, you know, do the side fencing when we come back to do the C of O, we'll make note of that it's been, the 8-foot fencing has been brought down. Okay?
Okay. Okay. I'm just trying to do that. Yeah.
So go ahead, Chip.
Okay.
But wait, Jonathan, I'm sorry. Jonathan, let me just say this. In your motion, also make a mention that we're approving the back fencing with the understanding that the 8-foot wire fencing on the side of the house is being brought down to 4 feet.
The 8-foot wire fencing on either side, the one that I said that would be.
Yeah, right. Where it's doubled up. Right.
But she's allowed 6 feet there, right?
Right, but she's bringing it down to 4. So that's what I just want to make part of the motion, that she's reducing that 8-foot down to a 4-foot fencing.
Fine. Okay.
Or just over 4. And she's allowed that.
So I move that the board approves the new deer fence, 7.5-foot deer fence on the back and side around the pool that was just installed. There's no proviso. It's just a comment, right, about the other fence, the front fence.
Well, with the understanding that she's going to reduce the 8-foot deer fencing on the right side of her house to below 6 feet.
I'll use that word. With the understanding that the 8-foot fencing between the sides of the house and their adjacent property lines will be reduced to 4 feet in another material.
And not over 6. Okay, can I get a second on that,
Not
Chip?
over 6. Yeah.
Second.
All in favor, Esperanza?
Aye.
And Diane?
Aye.
And Betsy, aye. All right, good luck, Vivian. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Okay, be well.
Night.
So David, I see that something came up with the next application.
Yes, the attorney for the next application, Deborah Sharon. I texted her to ask if she had the link, and she apparently was unaware that the application was on tonight. She thought that she was supposed to reach out and request, to be put back on the agenda. Either way, she asked us to table it.
Okay, all right.
Great.
So she did not request to be put back on.
Correct.
It was just automatically put on. Okay.
Correct.
Ah,
And
so
she
we're
said
not
she
doing that.
apologizes to the board for.
Okay, so let me read that into the record. LSIROWKOP LLC, which was on for a modification, and we had tabled it from the last meeting. Tax map number 300-170-3-8.1, 169 Road is tabled again, and she'll let us know when she's ready to come back on.
Correct.
Okay.
Postponed or tabled? I mean, does it
Tabled.
make a difference?
Adam Kanzler, tax map number 300-67-3-39355 Old Montauk Highway in Montauk. Jonathan and Michael, we're seeing if there's somebody, maybe Sean is on.
I have two different callers on hold. I can go to the first one and see. The last four
Okay.
digits of this caller are 2736. I'll unmute now.
Hi, this is Sean.
Hi, Sean.
Hi.
Jonathan, if you could read into record what the application is for.
This is an application to reduce a 6-foot height, actually now approve a 5-foot height gate within the front yard setback at Old Montauk Highway.
Right. Let's take a look at the second photograph right there, that one. All right, Sean, you weren't here with us last meeting, so we tabled it, but I had taken a ride out to Montauk to do some site inspections, and when I was driving by, I noticed that this 6-foot gate that was before us a couple meetings ago has been removed, and there's a smaller wood frame with wire gate there now. Can you tell us what's going on?
Absolutely. So I skipped the last meeting, and I apologize for that. I had to travel unexpectedly and actually just spaced out on the timing of the meeting. So we submitted another application to approve a 5-foot gate because your recommendation on our first meeting was to talk to the owners and see if they were willing to do a 5-foot gate instead of a 6-foot gate. And they are agreeable to that. They're in a bit of a rush to get a certificate of occupancy on the house for some financing reasons. And so I instructed the landscaper to remove the 6-foot gate and all the fencing that was an issue. Some of it was above 6 feet because of a berm. And they installed a pool code compliant 4-foot gate to match some pool gates that we did up on the decks.
Okay,
the
so is
owner
that
at this
what
point
they're
is willing
going?
to put in a 5-foot gate.
Wait, say that again? I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
The owner would be happy with a 5-foot gate. And the
Is he
6-foot
gonna
gate that was
reduce-
there is not really able to be modified.
It's not. Okay, so that gate is going away, and at some point, they're gonna come back to us with a new 5-foot gate to approve?
Well, so the gate that's there, that 6-foot gate that's there, that would be the design of the 5-foot gate that they would want to put in. So it'd be 5-foot posts and 5-foot gate.
All right, so they're gonna remake this exact gate that we're looking at 5 feet. And until they do that,
Yeah.
they have a temporary 4-foot gate in its place, correct?
Correct. Which will probably just stay there this summer, but I don't know.
Okay.
So my goal is to get them an approval on the 5-foot gate, matching the 6-foot gate in the photo, 5-foot height, so that they have the option.
Okay. Well, the other thing that came up is that post next to it, which is still there, and it's 8 foot, but it now has a camera on it. Can you reduce that post to 6 feet? Because we need to approve anything above 4, and we could go up to 6. Or you can remove.
I didn't realize that.
I think there's a better
I'll just tell them
picture
they need
of
to
that.
remove that.
Yeah, let me see if there's a better picture of that, Kyle, towards the end of.
Yep, it's loading now.
Okay.
It's just
I wasn't aware that they had an 8-foot camera post up there.
Here it is.
Right there. So there's the new 4-foot standard pool fencing gate that they put in its place. And there's I'm assuming if that post on the gate is 4 feet, that is 8 feet. And there's the camera. What do you want to do about that?
Yeah, all right. Well, how tall can the camera post be?
Well, we can
6
approve
foot?
a post up to 6 feet in the front of the road.
Right, which this counts as, right? Because it's in the front yard.
Yes,
Yeah.
it faces
So
Old
I'll just
Montauk
tell them they
Highway.
need to reduce that. So if we can get the camera post approved at 6 foot, then I can have them reduce that. And the gate that you're looking at in this photo is actually 4 foot tall. And the reason the post is taller by about 8 or 10 inches is because there's a berm. The post sits right on a berm, and there's a full code fence that kind of comes across. A 4 foot fence comes across, meets that post, and then the berm drops down into the walkway. So it's a little awkward right there. But in any case, it looks like the issue here is that post more than anything.
All right. Does anybody have any problem with this post and camera going down to 6 feet?
No.
Jonathan?
No.
Okay. David, can we approve the other gate that they removed at 5 feet so that they have it in their resolution if they want to come back to that, and then also at the same time approve this post of the camera to 6?
Yes, if you just are very clear in the language of the resolution, so I can make sure that I do it accurately as I'm writing it.
Okay, Jonathan?
Well, it's right now it's a legal gate. So if we approve a 5 foot gate and they come back, they shouldn't have to worry about it, right?
Well, that's the point. But what we have to do is we have to approve a 5 foot gate based on the rendering of the gate that we're approving. Which was what was the gate was there before. So we're going to use that as the design at 5 feet that we're approving.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay, so I move that the board approves a 5 foot gate that is based on the same design as the existing 6 foot gate.
Or the prior 6 foot gate.
The prior 6 foot gate. And in addition, the 8 foot camera post shall be reduced to 6 feet.
Okay. Can I get a second on that, Chip?
Second.
Okay, Diane?
Yes, aye.
Esperanza?
I just wonder if we need just the details. Like, could Sean just say, oh, it's the, 4x4, whatever that is, those slats, so we know what the design is, rather than just relying on a picture that might not be available for when the CO is up.
Right. Sean,
do you want to, we could specify the particular photograph that we're relying on right now, and then perhaps, mark it as by number or something, and then we could indicate that in the reference so we know that it's.
All right, well, let's go back to the beginning of the pictures, Kyle. We'll pick one out, and maybe Sean could give us some dimensions.
Yeah, there's actually I do have architectural drawings of 4 foot gate and a 6 foot gate, and I can just mark up that drawing and send it to you.
All right,
but if it's faster this way, I'm happy to
So this is a cedar plank gate with cedar posts, 4x4 cedar posts, and probably 5/4 by 6 planks. Is that right?
Yeah,
that's correct. Yeah.
Is this the photo that the board wants to use?
Yes, and then, but we'll be happy to take
this photo, Betsy, by the file name, and then I can just write that in the resolution. This could be.
Right, but I would like to take Sean up on his offer to give us a sketch that we could actually have in our file.
And also just the description, whatever Jonathan just said, or you agreed to, Sean, the 5/4, whatever.
Is it 5/4? It looks like it's 4-inch, those planks, is it not?
That's the depth. That's the depth.
2, 4, 6, 8. No, they're by 6. They're probably 5.5-inch boards with 1/2-inch space, so it's about 6-inch spaces.
Okay.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Those
6.
are
Yeah, so
6 by
6 feet.
6. They're 6 by 6 posts, is what it is.
The posts are 6
Yeah,
by
6 by
6,
6
okay,
posts,
and
and then-
the planks
And
are
then
5
probably
and
a
what?
1 by 6 plank.
Okay.
Okay.
So
great.
Jonathan, why don't you read, why don't we, just read that in what the size is, and then we'll also wait for the rendering from Sean.
Okay. The fence, which is recorded in a photograph and in a drawing, is made with 2 6 by 6 clear cedar posts, and the gate. The gate is made of 1 by 6 clear cedar planking with about 3/8-inch spacing in between.
Okay, great. All right.
Great.
And we all
What was the
agree on
last
that.
thing again? What were the dimensions on the clear cedar planking?
1 by 6, which
Okay,
means
thank you.
3/4 by 5.5.
Okay. So 2 6 by 6 clear cedar posts and 1 by 6 clear cedar planking?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then we'll reference what Sean also, the drawing that Sean sends.
With a shallow 3/8-inch space.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Sean, that's good. That's great. All right, thank you very much.
Okay, so now is this, if when I send the drawing, do I need to attend another meeting to discuss this? Or does
No,
it become official when I send
Just
this detail?
send the drawing, and make sure, it's documented, with the tax map number, the address, the applicant's name. And, I would give dimensions on the drawing for 5 feet and what the size of the planks and the posts are, just so we have it.
Again.
Okay?
But it's approved now.
Yes, it is. All right, I'm
Okay,
going to move on.
excellent.
Thanks
I'll do
again,
that,
Sean.
and, thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Frederick and Gale Forward, tax map number 300-55-4-21 3 North Cape Lane in East Hampton. That's Esperanza. And do you think there's someone on the line? Esperanza,
I
Terrence?
think there may be a Terrence Connolly. Oh, there he is. And he's echoing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Should I shut off the phone call?
Please.
Okay, I'm off.
So this is an application for 8-foot wire deer fencing, total length 19,605 square feet. North Cape Lane is a very quiet neighborhood, wooded. This property abuts in the rear to a nature preserve. And I don't think that when this application was before us in the last meeting, that the board objected to the fencing in the rear and side yard. There was the issue of the pedestrian gate in particular on the left side of the house. And I have, I think, a picture of that, or it was in the application submission also. Because that pedestrian gate has a structure that exceeds the 8 feet. There you go.
This guy here.
It's at 8 feet 6 inches. That deer fencing obviously then is also 8 feet. I leave it to David at this point if we can approve this at up to 8 feet or if it has to be at 6 feet.
Well, it's higher than 8 feet.
Well, no, but even if they agreed to reduce it to 8 feet, if that is permissible.
Well, why don't we see what Torrance has to say about this gate?
So I thank you, and I did listen to the minutes of the last meeting, and I appreciate the comments as well as my clients, Mrs. Warwood and Mr. Warwood. As you can tell, they're not ostentatious people. They're not looking to be flamboyant with anything they did. When they were inside the backyard entertaining, a family of deer came through. It was quite terrifying for them. They had the deer fence put up. They are, just so you know, very willing to reduce that to 6 foot if the board wants them to for that front part of the fence, like you guys had mentioned. They don't want to have any issues with the board. They would like to keep the 8 foot. I know that the board brought up the fact of how the gate is and how it's connected like this. It was done to secure the fence. They didn't run that 8 foot section to the house. They didn't feel like the deer were going to come and pick that 2 foot piece and jump through it. So it's more just for safety, but they are willing to comply. If you look at the property, they don't want to negatively impact the character of the neighborhood. They love the neighborhood. They love that natural setting. They're not looking to do any improvements that takes away from the character of the neighborhood at all. As you can see, even with the gate, everything is very open. If you go to the street and you stare at the property, the gate on the right side, you cannot see it from the road. In the winter, you can kind of see this from the road on the left side, but in full bloom in season, you wouldn't be able to even see this with the way that they're keeping the property with the natural landscape. So I would hope that the board would look favorably on possibly allowing them to keep the 8 foot, but we just want to present with saying whatever the board feels, we are willing to obviously comply with that. And that is just the way that they want me to present for them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Esperanza, what do you think?
I really think the house, I agree with you entirely. The house is really very, sort of modest in every way as far as, there's nothing that kind of is blaring about it except for that pedestrian gate, that particular structure. And maybe it's just also it hasn't aged out. But honestly, I just think that's kind of an eyesore, that structure above. So my inclination would be if that's only there to support the 8 foot deer fencing that attaches to it, if that could be reduced in some way, either to 6 feet, if that makes it easier. I don't know. I would defer to the board, the rest of the board.
It looks to me like just to the right of the bare piece of wood is another piece of cedar or a cedar-like looking, and that's what's holding the fence.
Yeah.
And the so-called gate overlay, over the cedar-looking like fence is probably CCA, pressure treated wood and cut like this. I don't know whether it's structural or not. What does the lawyer say?
So if I could answer, if you don't mind, I don't mean to cut anybody off. Mm-hmm. I believe to secure that piece of cedar that they're talking about, they kind of needed that. They felt, or the person, the carpenter that did it, felt that CCA was going to support it correctly and give it its strength. But if it needs to be reduced 6 inches to be to that 8 foot, they'll be happy to do it. If you're saying to reduce it to to reduce it 6 inches to be 8 foot, they would do that. If you don't like the design, they would be happy to cut those 2 ends off and make it more square. They said that they would be happy to paint it black so it matched the rest of the house. They would be happy to let it age. They felt the same thing, that once it aged, it would be more gray and would be more natural looking than it is right now. But just so the board knows is that that was 100% done there because it was advised for the structure of it.
All right, Diane, what's your take on this?
Me?
Yeah, please.
Well, I think it is such a matter of personal taste, and I think I heard that you can't see it from anywhere.
Well, you can see it a little bit from the road when 6 months out of the year. But it is far back. How far back is this from the road, Terrence?
I think it's close to 140 feet, 140.
Correct. Yes, you're right. That's about right. It's really far back. The whole front yard, as I indicated in the last meeting, is not at all enclosed. So I don't substantially object to it. I just think everything else on this property is so tasteful, and this stood out to me, and it is above the 8 feet that we can allow. So,
yeah, Chip, you were going to say.
So I can't tell. In the rectangle space above the gate itself, is there fencing in there, or is that open?
It's open.
It's open.
So
we've
had.
Yeah,
Okay,
I believe that's open.
Yeah. Okay. So I've had applications like this in front of me, very similar structures on the sides of houses. And in the past, we've asked to have them cut down so it would be equal to the top of the gate. That's my feeling.
Okay. It would look much nicer.
Yeah. Well, a couple things. One is you can't see it from the road, so that's one thing. If the code, you need to bring it down 8 feet, which might be 6 inches or something, right?
Yeah.
Now, if there's several things you can do to make it more nicer. All right. So one is have, instead of the CCA, use cedar for that same purpose. Have it go up to a height, say 6 feet if you want, and then have the post, the horizontal, on top of that in cedar, and have the horizontal attached to that post that goes all the way up to 8 feet, and that would sort of be more powerful looking, and they might like it better. And
I agree. I believe that would be more aesthetically pleasing to the client as well if they've seen that. I like that idea.
I like the more reddish, wood cedar with the dark house, as opposed to this sort of, more pedestrian like
industrial looking.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a great idea, actually.
And Jonathan, would you suggest though that they keep that sort of?
I think it's fine. It's part of the feeling of the place.
Right.
Makes it more honorific and so forth. It's a nice door. Look at the beautiful door,
Yeah. Thank you, Jonathan, for that.
Mm-hmm.
So Esperanza, are you feeling in agreement with that?
I didn't quite understand the description. Basically, it would be swapping out this CCA for the natural cedar. Is that
red cedar?
For natural
and then
cedar,
bringing it down,
bringing it down to 6 feet instead of 8'6" or whatever it is.
But leaving that first CCA pole at the 8 feet.
No, no, not really. It's all, get rid of the CCA. That's
No, not the CCA. I apologize. Excuse me. The first cedar pole.
The first cedar pole.
The one that attaches to the deer fencing is what you're.
No, leave that.
You need that, right? Or whatever.
But Jonathan, why would the problem is that it's attached to 8-foot deer post. So why would they bring that top down to 6?
But the top 2 feet,
it'll work.
It's going to be strong enough.
It will.
So you're removing the top?
Yeah.
No.
Removing all the cedar. What Jonathan's trying to say, if you don't mind, he's saying to remove all the cedar there. Not the cedar. I'm sorry.
The
CCA. To remove all the CCA, but leave that 8-foot cedar post.
Yeah.
And where the CCA is now, put up 6-foot cedar, and then put a cross member that comes across, and then goes back down. So now it's all cedar. And what Jonathan's saying, and I agree with him, and being a contractor for over 20 years, I totally agree that the 6-foot height will support that 8-foot piece. And I believe it'll be much more aesthetically pleasing. I agree with him.
Right. And what is the height of the gate now?
I believe it's 6 foot.
Yeah.
So you'd be removing.
Why are you crossing it across with 6 feet? Exactly.
To support it to the other side.
Yeah, but who's going to go? I mean, my husband is 6'3". He won't be able to go under that.
Okay. What I meant was maybe make it 7 feet, a little bit higher than what that gate is.
Okay.
It looked like a 5-foot gate to me. So How
It
about
could be.
Why not just, I don't understand why it needs the top support if you have a reinforced, 2 cedar posts on each side at 6 or 7, whatever it is, 6 or 7 feet. I mean, 7 feet, 6 feet should be enough. I don't know. Whatever it meets.
If I were there, I could maybe be a little more accurate, but I think the horizontal, like that is an asset.
I guess it's a personal opinion, but I wouldn't recommend it at 6 feet because.
No, I agree with Esperanza. If you're going to do this all in red cedar, I would drop that horizontal upper post down to 8 and call it a day.
All right, fine. I like it like 7.
Or 7. I mean, whatever it is, but just don't put it at 6 because
you're absolutely
there are tall
right.
people that can't go underneath that.
That makes sense.
So why don't we do this, Terrence? Why don't we leave it up to you that it doesn't exceed 8 feet? If you feel 7, 7.5 is the right, dimension from an aesthetic point of view.
Okay.
So that basically what we're doing is we're approving this to be swapped out to red cedar, and the post and the top portion won't exceed 8 feet. How's that?
Perfect. I think it's very fair, and I think it's very kind of the board, and I think that we'll accommodate that immediately.
Esperanza, are you good with that?
Yeah, I think that will, aesthetically, this house is really lovely, and I think this is detracting from it. So
right. And when they're there building it, they'll be able to determine, should it be 7.2, should it be 6, whatever. Because I think if you do it at 6 or 7, it's just like it's going to be claustrophobic.
Yeah, I think that me and John, I think when Jonathan was just talking about, we weren't thinking about the 6-foot height there, but I like the design that he had talked about, if that's the design that the Horwoods like. But absolutely, we'll bring it down. We won't exceed that 8 foot, and thank you.
And you'll swap it out to red cedar.
We will swap it out to red cedar. Yes, we can make that provision.
All right. So Esperanza, you want to make a motion on this?
Yes, I make a motion to approve the application as submitted, with the condition that the pedestrian gate on the left side of the house will be modified to remove the CCA, replacing it with red cedar at a height for the entire structure to be no greater than 8 feet.
Exactly. Okay. Can I get a second, Jonathan?
Yes.
All in favor, Diane?
Aye.
Chip?
Yes.
And Betsy, aye. All right, great, Terrence. Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Guys, thank you very much, and we really appreciate you.
Well, we appreciate your willingness to work with the board.
Of course.
Under certificate of occupancy, Frank Rispoli, tax map number 300-165-4-19.7, 9 Briar Sweet Lane, East Hampton. Diane Benson.
Yes, I have visited this property. We have some photographs. It is on a flag lot that forks off into another flag lot. It's totally invisible from anywhere. And the resolution approved 8-foot fencing with a 6-foot stockade with 2 feet of wire fencing above, which is very neatly done. And I would like to make a motion that staff contact the building department that this is ready for a CFO.
All right, let me ask a question. Did you submit any photos for this?
Yes, I did.
Brittany is attempting to locate them now. Chair, I apologize. They were not put in the file.
You can't see them from anywhere, so.
Okay. How many photos did you submit, Diane? Just one?
2, one of each fence. It's very, proved 6 feet of stockade with 2 feet of wire fencing above. Neither area is very, very, maybe at one point it's 25 or 30 feet wide. Anyway, it's totally invisible, and we had a long horrendous. There we go.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are the two.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
All right, Diane.
Okay, so I made the motion. Do I need to make it again?
You need to instruct staff.
You did.
I did. To instruct staff to notify the building department that this property at 8 Briar Suite is ready for a COL.
Excellent. Can I get a second on that, Chip?
Yes.
All in favor, Esperanza?
Aye.
Jonathan?
Yes.
And
Aye.
Betsy, aye. Great, thank you. Marshalls and Sons Energy Group, tax map number 300-79-3-225 South Embassy Street in Montauk. I have some pictures. Let's just look at the new, let's look at the one on the top, which was the existing building.
Sorry to interrupt
Yeah.
you, Chair. There is a Mr. Marshall joining the Zoom link.
Is that Mr. Marshall Prado?
It's Tyler
Marshall?
Tyler Marshall.
Oh, no, that's for Edward Fogarty, so not for this
Yeah, that's
application.
not the same Marshall, okay.
Thank
So
you.
this is the building that's behind Marshall and Sons Plumbing and Heating and Gas Station and Convenience Store on Montauk Highway in Montauk. And it's as you can see, it's a commercial first floor, and then there's an apartment up above. And they came before us to do a renovation, and they did the renovation, if I can see the pictures that I took. Right there. And they're going to have a new tenant that's going to be a specialty Italian bakery. And this is the siding that we approved and the coloration. The only change that they had, if you look over to the right, there's some railing on the second story back deck. You see that? And then if I can look at the next picture, and the railing going up the steps, that originally was supposed to be CCA and stained in a gray color to match the hardy plank up above. But because of COVID, they weren't able to get CCA, and what they could get was cedar. And so they went with the cedar, and when they installed it, they felt that they liked it better to gray off as opposed to paint, because it would also require maintenance down along the line when paint chipping, especially so close to the ocean. So that's the only change they made to the resolution. I don't have a problem with the railings being in cedar. I actually prefer them to the CCA. Does anybody have any questions or any problems with this?
No.
Great.
Okay, great. So I'm going to make a motion to approve the application. I'm sorry, to approve the resolution that it is as built, with the exception of the railings on the staircase and the second story back deck that was supposed to be CCA is now unpainted and that cedar to be naturalized. So I'd like to instruct staff to notify the building department that this is ready for a certificate of occupancy. Can I get a second on that, Jonathan?
I second.
And all in favor, Esperanza?
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
And Chip?
Yes.
Okay, great. So that's approved. The next application for certificate of occupancy, there are actually two. New Singular Wireless PCS LLC, tax map number 300-15-1-9, 2000 Montauk Highway. This is out at the Montauk Lighthouse, if we can see my picture that I took on this beautiful day in Montauk.
Oh, beautiful.
Amazing, right? It was glorious. Anyway, there were two separate resolutions. Each one was for a separate part of the installation of cellular equipment on the white fire tower, which is behind the lighthouse. So I'm going to read the first one, which the project date approval was for May 24th, 2018. And this was 9 panel antennas with 3 sectors containing 3 antennas, each mounted on the face of the fire control tower, a GPS unit to be mounted on top of the tower. This you can all see over to the right where those canisters are up on the and on the side top. and there's some antennas on the top of the tower, and all the other electrical equipment is situated in the interior of the tower. The applicant shall ensure in perpetuity that all exterior equipment matches the color of the fire control tower. And then the second application for certificate of occupancy was approved on 2/14/2019. And this is an installation of one 2-foot microwave dish, 2 foot in diameter, to the fire control tower. And you can see that dish up on the left-hand top corner. And this is painted to match the chimney on the tower and in the location as indicated on the approved survey. And the dish must not protrude past the top of the chimney, which it does not. So both of these are ready to go. So I'd like to instruct staff to notify the building department that they're both ready for a certificate of occupancy. Could I get a second on that, Chip?
Second.
And Diane, all in favor?
Oh, yes. Aye.
Diane, I mean Esperanza?
Yes, aye.
And Jonathan, thank you. Okay, so they're approved. Edward Fogarty, tax map number 16. I wanted to make a mention that, and I hope I have the right tax map number, that the tax map number that was originally printed on the agenda was incorrect. And what I understand the correct tax map number to be is 300-163-3-10, 4 Springs Fireplace Road in East Hampton, Esperanza.
Yes, so this is for a new construction of a single-story dwelling at 4 Springs Fireplace Road. And we have Tyler Marshall, who's with the architectural firm. I believe he's on the line.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, Tyler.
Hi.
Hi, Tyler. So I've taken several pictures of the finished structure. I spoke with Tyler because the survey that was submitted had a couple of errors, mainly that it indicated that this was a 2-story dwelling. It's actually a 1-story dwelling. And also that on either end, sort of north and south of the structure, there are showers, enclosed showers, outdoor showers. And these originally on our resolution, well, actually first on the survey, one of them was indicated as a deck. That Tyler is taking care of getting that survey updated and resubmitted for our files. The other thing that I forgot to point out with Tyler when I spoke with him was that on our resolution and on the original application, those showers were supposed to be natural Ipe, and they have been instead stained black to match the rest of the house, which I think is a better solution. So we would just need to indicate, I mean, the structure substantially conforms to everything in the resolution except for that. And then I also spoke with him because at that main entrance, you see there's the whole glass section there in the middle of this structure. There will be, and that is, if we looked at the rest of the pictures, there's a panel or a barn door, sort of sliding barn door that will go across that entrance covered breezeway.
Is that on the other side of the
It's going to be on this side. It just hasn't been installed yet. I took a picture of a panel that was lying on the back deck and I asked Tyler about it and he immediately said, oh, that must be that panel. And I noticed that that was on the elevations. And so it just needs to be installed. And those are the only things. I mean, otherwise everything else conforms. All the fencing, the gates, the gates are at 4 feet. There are posts that are at 65 inches. I mean, I don't see, could you just go through the pictures, Kyle, if you have all of them there? This is the house as you approach it. And there's like a vegetable garden. I don't think that it's part of this property, but it's really nicely nestled into this property. The driveway is is freshly done. So this is all it.
What are those, go back to that last picture, I'm just curious. What are those openings? Are they glass?
Nope, that's all just open. I think actually the first one that you see is glass. The next one is an open covered porch area.
Okay.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. And so all that side is the standing seam, this roof is standing seam. Everything is just as it was described, as far as I could
tell. So the panel that is like a sort of sliding barn door is on the opposite side of all of the front of the house, correct?
It's on the, yes, it's as you pull up that first picture that we were looking at, it would cover this, this section as you look into the parking court on that side of the,
David, can we approve something for a certificate of occupancy if it's not completely finished? If it's there laying on the ground?
Yeah, there it is. Right there.
Yeah, they just, I thought they had it installed. I'm not sure if the GC took it down.
Is it going to have the upper metal sliding railings like a barn door?
Correct, yeah. So they were working on installing the rail with a header. It's certainly something that is in the works.
Right. What do you think, David?
I think we can do it and then put a condition in the memorandum that I don't know what is the name of the piece. It's the slider you're calling it.
It's like a barn door.
Yeah, approved with the condition that the barn door will be installed. What part of the house is it?
Front door.
Okay,
it's the front door, yeah.
Yeah, so just approved with the front door to be installed.
And also mention that we're changing out the siding on the outdoor showers to match the siding on the house.
Okay.
I have to say, I rode by the farm that this is behind on Springs Fireplace. Everybody knows that farm. Jonathan, wasn't that your family's farm at some point?
Yes, it was.
It was. That you can see sort of the roof line of the front building from the roadway, and it almost presents like a barn. I think it.
Yeah, I have a picture of that, Betsy. Kyle, if you keep, I thought there was a picture of that.
Yeah, it's really smart.
Maybe, there it is.
There it is.
You can hardly see it.
You can't see it, but if you just drove by or you walked on that sidewalk, you wouldn't think it was a home. You would think it was part of the pastoral farm.
Right, exactly. I mean, I think I envisioned this when this came before us as something that would kind of disappear into the landscape. And the first structure here is as a barn, and it just really emulates that. So I think it's really nicely done.
And I actually think it highlights that old wood barn as well.
It's true.
Exactly. I agree. Yeah.
I remember Diane and I were out there when this first was going on. So it's nice to see it come to its fruition.
Yes.
It's lovely, Tyler. Good job.
Great. Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Okay, so Diane, if you want, Esperanza, if you want to make a motion.
Yes, so I make a motion to instruct staff to inform the building department that the applicant has satisfied the conditions of their ARB approval, and a certificate of occupancy can be issued with the, how would I say this, the condition or just the understanding that the barn door to be installed at the front entryway will be in place, and that the 2 outdoor shower enclosures are now stained black like the rest of the house.
Great. Can I get a second on that, Diane?
Oh, yes.
All right. All in favor? Tyler? No, I'm kidding. Jonathan?
Yes.
Brittany? Chip?
Yes.
And Betsy, aye. Okay. Good job, Tyler.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Farrah,
don't forget to submit that survey, okay, please?
We dropped it off earlier this morning.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
So make sure, Brittany, that gets in the file with this. Okay?
Yes, the survey's been received and already added to the file.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you very much. You guys are on it. Farah Dib, tax map number 300-35-2-346 Hedges Banks Drive, East Hampton. Chip.
This is an application seeking a C of O after the removal of a wire fence across the front of the property. The side fences on this property belong to a neighbor. They're not of our concern. We approved these gates, which are and posts in November 2020, so they are not part of this application, but the fence was to the left of it. The fence has been removed. The fence ran right along the inside here, and the house is to the right. The road is to the left. They've done exactly what we've asked. I'm fine with it.
Was the gate part of it?
No, the gate was approved by us in November of 2020.
But it's not part of the C of O?
I don't see.
Well, I think the whole thing is part of the C of O, yes.
All right, so it's the 6-foot gate and the fencing, correct? Or the fencing was removed?
The fencing was the issue at hand now, and the fencing has been removed. The gate was approved in November by us.
Okay, so that's why we're approving this for the gate for the C of O, correct?
Where's the was there?
No, wait, Betsy. We approved the gate and the posts in November. I think the building department went out and found the fence that was there. They have now removed the fence. So the item at issue is the fence. The gates were already approved. It all wraps into a new C of O.
Excuse me, Betsy, if you may, I believe we have a caller pertaining to this.
Roy Greenberg?
Yes. I'll unmute that caller now.
So I just want to be clear, that I understand it. So we already told the staff to notify the building department back in 2020
November.
that this was ready for a C of O, right?
Right.
Building department goes out there for whatever reason, sees the fencing, and they have to come back to us.
I believe that's right. I think Roy Greenberg could tell us.
That's not actually what happened, but that's okay. It's pretty close. As I recall, it was your board that went out to look at the gate and made it and pointed out there was a problem with the fence. It was one of your people, so we fixed it. I don't think the building department's ever been out there, but the net effect is the same.
Okay.
We did what we were supposed to, and I thank you for appreciating that.
So we never approved it for a certificate of occupancy because somebody found the fencing. And this might have been Peter.
Yes.
For some reason. I don't think this was you, Chip. I think you inherited.
I was not familiar with the property when I went to see it. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's why there's the confusion there.
Okay. So I move that we instruct staff to inform the building department that this property is now ready for a C of O.
Okay. Wait, I just want to ask, Roy, do you have any questions or anything before we move this forward?
No, I just want to thank you for sticking around until 7:16. That's a long night. I've been watching every inch of the way. It's a long time.
This is early.
You haven't seen
been here in December. Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you, Chip. And can I get a second on that, Esperanza?
Second.
All in favor, Jonathan?
Aye.
Betsy, yeah, aye, and Diane.
Yes, aye.
All right. Thanks, Roy. Okay,
Thank you.
that will do
Have a good
it
evening, board
for
members.
us.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, good night. That will do it for us. I'd like to make a motion to close the meeting of March 25th, 2021. Can I get a second on that, Diane?
Yes.
All in favor? Everyone?
Aye.
Yes.
Thank you, Kyle. Brittany,
Bye-bye.
and
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you,
everyone.
Brittany.
Thanks, Kyle.
All right, good night.
Night, everybody.
Good night.
All right.